A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs. You know, ladies, when I tell you that New Does is one soap for everything in your wash, I mean everything.
Now, look here, young man. I want to talk to you about that.
About Does doing everything?
Yes. Now, last week I had a lot of tablecloths and towels in my wash. And they have to come out white to suit me.
Well, just do them with Does and they'll come out gleaming white. In fact, you've never seen more snowy whitewashes than New Does gives you. Why, your towels will be whiter. Far whiter than you can get them with any number of other soaps.
Well, I also had some of my husband's overalls in my wash. Do you mean to say Does is going to get them clean?
Sure, Does will get them wonderfully clean. And you won't have to do any hard scrubbing. And no boiling either. Why, no soap made gets clothes clean easier than New Does.
But look, I had a couple of rayon slips and a lot of fussy colored washables. Now, you aren't going to tell me I can use Does for them, too.
I certainly am. Does is far safer for those pretty colors than any other leading granulated laundry soap. You see, like I said, Does does everything in the wash.
Oh, I declare. This Does is the most amazing soap I've ever heard of.
You bet Does is amazing. Just you try it, you'll see Does is a brand new kind of granulated soap. So new, you've never before been able to buy a soap quite like it.
Oh.
Why, you can tell the difference just by the suds. Notice Does makes far more suds than any of the four other popular granulated laundry soaps.
My.
And Does gives you suds that build up faster and last longer.
See, the more I hear about this Does, the better it sounds.
Well, just give Does a chance to prove what wonders it does for all three kinds of wash. Work shirts, towels, rayons, everything. Then see if you don't agree, Does is the most amazing soap you ever used. Remember the name, D-U-Z, Does, in the big red and white box. Now, the Goldbergs. Night seems to have stopped dead in its tracks at the Goldbergs' house because so many things have happened. Molly's plan to straighten out the lives of 4 people has turned into a riot, for Dr. Cater has left OEM for good, and Mrs. Way has given up all hope of getting back her former husband. In fact, Mrs. Way has offered to pay and is going to pay Way's old debt. And now nothing seems to be able to stand in the way of the marriage of Orianne and Edward Way. But the long night brings another visitor.
Mrs. Way, please open your coat and don't leave yet. Please don't leave yet. You look so perturbed and disturbed. It's late. I'll fix some coffee. You'll come in the kitchen with me and fix some coffee, and we'll both drink a cup. Come. Then I'll walk home with you to the hotel, or maybe Mr. Goldberg will slip out something. He'll drive you home to the hotel. Come, I don't want to see you go home alone like that, looking just you're looking. Excuse me, one minute, please, Mrs. Way. Please, just 1 minute. Jay, maybe you'll slip on something and you'll come down. I'm making a cup of coffee, and then you'll swallow the cup down, and I'll fill you too. Put on your back over your slippers, darling. Come, Mrs. Way. Come in the kitchen with me, dear. Come. What Mr. Ray said to you, what you said to him, I don't know. I'm not cognizant of your conversation. Come in here. You'll talk your heart out and then listen. Come, please. Come in. Whatever Christmas tells me, maybe you'll feel better, dear. Please. Feel better. Who went out? Nobody went out. I just came in. Seymour. Me. I came in. I saw the lights in the window here when I went to the movies, and when I saw them on my way back from the movies, I thought something was wrong. Hello, Seymour. How are you, Miss Goldberg? Fine, thank you. Seymour? You just came in, Seymour.
Yes. How are you, Miss
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine. I saw the lights in the window on my way to the movies, and when I saw them still burning on the way back...
Yeah? Well, I'm glad you stepped in, Tim. I'm very glad to see you. You didn't walk to see us for such a long time. Is that nice, huh? Where does Mrs. Ray put her pocketbook? that she left her pocketbook in his time. Oh, look on the sideboard. Maybe it's on the sideboard.
All right.
I'm very glad to see you, Seymour. Birdie is well. She was also surprised you didn't change it. How's your mama, Seymour?
Oh, she's all right.
What did you get to the pocketbook? Look at... Oh, I have it. Excuse me, Seymour, dear.
Sure.
Open your coat. Maybe Seymour wants to nibble something. I'm making coffee for all that stuff. Excuse me.
Okay. Mr. Wayne and Oriana are outside, walking up and down the road together.
I know.
May I ask what happened?
So much, Seymour.
You look so exhausted, Rosie.
Well, this has all been too much for everybody.
Please sit down. Can I get you something?
No, thank you, Seymour.
Have you missed me, Rosie?
Of course, Seymour.
I wish you meant that. I'm sorry. You wouldn't say it if you didn't mean it. I haven't been over because I thought your father looked askance at my attention to you. And he's been rather irritable at the mill, too. And I know what with all that's going on with Mr. and Mrs. Wayne and Oriane.
We all missed you, Seymour.
I'm not interested in everybody, Rosie. I'd just like to hear you say you missed me.
I said I missed you, Seymour.
I pass your house every day. Would you believe it? You do a lot of silly, foolish things when you're in a condition.
Have you heard from your mother lately, Seymour?
She's all right. She's very concerned about me now.
Well, why now?
I'd rather not talk about it.
You'd rather not.
I'd rather not. It concerns me very vitally. You haven't been to the movies lately either, Rosie.
No, there's been too much going on here.
Oriane is foolish if she doesn't marry the man she loves.
Well, she thinks that she can learn to love the man that she pities.
I never want anyone to marry me because they were sorry for me. Never. That's why before I'd ever declare my love for anyone, I'd have to be certain it was reciprocated. I'm too sensitive to be rejected.
Where's Mama?
Oh, Paul.
Oh, it's rather late for visiting. Don't you think so, Seymour?
Yeah, I do indeed. But I saw the lights in your window when I went to the movie, and when I came back from the movies, I saw the lights, so I...
Go to bed, Rosie.
Yes, Paul. Good night.
Good night, Miss Goldbergs. If I disturbed you, it was only my concern, because when I saw the lights...
Good night, Rosie.
Good night. If there's anything I can do, Mr. Goldberg...
Thank you.
I didn't mean to intrude, but you...
Good night, Seymour.
What must I do to gain and win your esteem, Mr. Goldberg?
Huh?
I have such a high regard for you and your family, not only because I love your daughter.
What's that?
I don't have to hesitate to express my honest feelings. They're my feelings, and they're sacred. Whether you approve of them or not has nothing to do with what I feel. I love her.
When did you tell her that?
I didn't tell her. She loves me. She knows it without having to be told. If she doesn't know it, I'll wait. I have plenty of time. I'm young.
Good night.
Good night. I'm glad I told you, and I feel I can look you straight in the eye.
Good night, Seymour.
You'll be proud of my future someday, Mr. Goldberg.
Good night, Seymour.
If you're thinking of firing me, tell me right now, Mr. Goldberg.
I said good night.
I'm enlisting in the Navy, Mr. Goldberg, so you can save yourself the trouble.
You're enlisting?
Yes.
You're not too young?
I'm 18 and 3 months past.
Come here, Seymour. Sit down.
Yes?
Was I disrespectful to you, Seymour?
No.
Sammy will be going too when he finishes his college course.
Why not?
Does Rosie know?
I didn't want to tell her until I'm accepted. If I'm rejected, that'll be one more thing against my ability.
You're eligible, Seymour. And how you're eligible?
I saw the light in your window and
would you mind, dear, if I'll ask a special favor of you, darling, to go put on your coat, dear?
Yeah,
I wanted to do something for Mrs. Goldberg. Yes, dear. Orion is walking up and down outside with Mr. Ray. Don't tell Mr. Ray, but just tell Orion, please, that I wish...
Sit down, Molly.
Just a minute, dear, darling, just a minute. Seymour, you don't mind if you'll just do that to Mrs. Goldberg, huh?
Tell Mrs. Goldberg, Seymour, maybe she'll realize that the world is not only revolving around its axis.
Tell me what, Seymour?
What do you want me to tell him, Mr. Goldberg?
What you told me.
That I love Rosie?
That also.
Mrs. Goldberg knows that.
And does she know that?
No. That I didn't tell her.
Then tell her.
I'm enlisting. In the Navy. I'll tell Lorianne that you want her. See, Mrs. Goldberg. You're crying?
And suddenly, Seymour, 18, 3 months passed. Not too well blessed by nature, not too well blessed by circumstances, throws the whole picture of Molly's concern into a new relief. He stands there, little scrawny, his Adam's apple sticking out. Very little like a knight in shining armor, but more of a hero than he thinks himself. Don't look now, but are you still using an old-fashioned halfway soap for your dishes? Is it a mild bar soap that doesn't have real speed? Or a tough granulated soap that's short on kindness to your hands? Well, halfway soaps like that are cheaters in the dishpan. That's why new Does is such welcome news. You see, Does is that same wonderful new kind of granulated soap that does everything in your wash and sink. Does has everything for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Now, notice how wonderfully smooth and soft your hands feel after doing dishes with Does. Actually, it's the only leading granulated laundry soap that treats your hands with this extra kindness. Yet, Does can't be beat by any other soap for speedy dishwashing. It cuts right through even tough roasting pan grease without hard scouring. Why, you can see the difference in Does right in the suds. So try it today. Does has everything for dishes. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs. Molly knows that her world includes not only Seymour and the world on its axis. It includes what she's begun for Oriane. And that Molly intends to finish. This is James Fleming wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
In just a moment, X-1. But first...
You are listening to the distinctive style of Claude Thornhill, one of today's top musicians and band leaders. It's popular music with all the beauty of a classical symphony. And there are more fine arrangements by Claude Thornhill all this week when he makes his appearance on NBC Bandstand. In addition, you're treated to the inimitable beat and rhythm of master jazzman Lionel Hampton. Join MCs Bert Parks and Dick Hames all this week on NBC Bandstand.
And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, The Snowball Effect, by Catherine McLean.
I took over the university at a time of crisis. For one thing, we had been placed on probation by the conference for overpaying football players by 100%, and one half of the varsity was penalized a year's eligibility. On top of that, I was called in by Mr. Harvey J. Grover of the Board of Trustees. We had lunch at 21 on his expense account, and after the Napoleon brandy, he lowered the boom.
Dr. Holloway, the university is in crisis.
I know, Mr. Grover, I know, but I'm assured that our scouts have turned up several likely zinc miners in Colorado. You can assure the board that we'll have a line to reckon with next season.
I'm not talking about football. There are other things at the university, I'm told.
Well, of course.
Holloway, as president of the university, you've taken on a grave responsibility.
I know.
I don't mind telling you the board has been gravely concerned. The number one problem facing us is academic freedom.
It is?
You're darn tooting. We want every academic department free from debt, running in the black. Is that clear?
Academic freedom, huh? I see.
Any faculty that can't support itself by grants, bequests, corporation, or government contracts is out.
All of them?
Down to the last assistant instructor. Look, Holloway, I'll put this to you straight. Most of the board was against hiring you. They had a bright young plant manager from General Products they said could show a profit from a candy store in the Mojave Desert. But I stood up for you.
Why, thank you, sir.
I told him the president of the university has got to be at least a high school graduate or it doesn't look good. You know, you did graduate from high school, didn't you?
Oh, yes. And college, too. I got my master's at Harvard and my doctorate at...
Never mind. Let's not go too far. Have you got this straight now?
Oh, yes. I've got to make a profit on the candy store. I mean, the university.
That's right. Oh, and, Holloway...
Yes?
How many zinc miners did you say we dug up?
I started in with anthropology, astronomy, astrophysics, agriculture. Almost all the departments could show a nice, healthy contract from the Department of Defense for research, or from some corporation. Even the classical wing came out okay. They were being subsidized by a pride of Texas millionaires who thought it was cute to have original Greek and Latin tombstones set in concrete on their patios. One fellow from Galveston gave a classical barbecue featuring a swimming pool with pornographic marbles from Pompeii set around the scum gutter. I ran into my first problem when I got to sociology. Now, look, Dr. Caswell, I'll be frank with you. I'm paid to make sure this institution doesn't come out on the short end of the stick.
Well, that's a quaint expression.
I got it from Mr. Grover of the Board of Trustees, so you can see this is no time for kidding ourselves. Can sociology pull its own weight? What is it?
Sociology is the study of social institutions.
Now, look, Caswell, to the Board of Trustees, sociology sounds like socialism, and nothing can sound worse than that. Come on now. What are you doing that's worth anything?
My dear sir.
And don't wrinkle your nostrils at me, Caswell. If you've allergies, take an antihistamine. If not, just answer my question.
This department's analysis of institutional accretion by the use of open system mathematics has been recognized as an outstanding and valuable contribution to...
Valuable in what way?
Well, since the Depression, Washington has been using sociological studies of employment, labor, and standards of living as a basis for its general policies.
Please, Professor, stick to brass tacks and leave Washington out of this. What specifically has the work of this specific department done that would make it as worthy to receive money as, say, a heart research fund?
Fundamental research doesn't show immediate effects, Dr. Holloway, but the value is recognized.
Caswell, all the other departments have managed to squeak by. You're the last one. Unless you can toe the mark, there'll be 14 sociologists testing the institutional efficiency of unemployment insurance as an instrument of economic policy. Caswell knew I had him. Unless he could show me how his department could scratch a buck together, I'd have to expunge his name from the catalog and have him drummed out of the faculty club. I'll hand it to him, though. He glared from behind his pince-nez, and sliding into his lecture manner, he started his calm.
Institutions, organizations, that is, have certain tendencies built into the way they happen to have been organized, which cause them to expand or contract without reference to the needs they were founded to serve. I have developed a form of socio-mathematics to plot these factors, and by comparing formulae...
Is it all perfectly clear to you? Well, it wasn't to me either. I grasped the idea that he could tell whether an organization would get bigger or smaller and why. And so I asked him for proof.
Well, I could give you a demonstration.
How quickly?
6 months.
All right, let's see. We've got a basketball team averaging 7 feet. That ought to keep the board busy till spring. And after that bonus pitcher we stole from the Milwaukee Braves. All right, Caswell, you've got 6 months. I forgot about Caswell and the sociology department for a couple of days while I went back to convincing semi-literate millionaires that they might as well leave a couple of millions to the university rather than have the federal snap it up in inheritance taxes. I was on to a real beaut. A button manufacturer with a bad heart who could go any minute, who wanted to endow a scholarship for needy and intellectually gifted lacrosse players. When Caswell came back to see me, we had lunch at the student cafeteria on my expense account. And he explained.
Ever hear of feedback effects?
Is it something to do with reducing overweight co-eds?
No. It's a mathematical term. You might call it the snowball effect.
You mean like rolling a snowball downhill?
That's right. It grows. Now, here's the mathematical symbol.
That spiral?
That's the formula for the general growth process. Do you understand the equation?
Why, no.
It accounts for all sorts of institutional growth. The Roman Empire, Alexander, the Masons, the spread of tobacco, anything. You see, when the snowball becomes too heavy for the cohesion strength of snow, it breaks apart. Now, we've decided to run the test on an organization and make it grow according to the formula.
I see. You're going to use some club or lodge or something as a guinea pig.
If you could follow the equation, you'd see I've built a pattern of a cogent reason for the ins to drag in new members from the outs, and an urgent factor to prevent anyone from resigning. That's this Greek symbol here. Kappa for compulsion.
I suggested a few changes in the organization plan, and we finally worked out a setup that was nice and simple. We put our heads closer together and tried to pick the best place for a demonstration.
It should be small enough to observe, and yet large enough to be statistically significant.
How about Passaic, New Jersey? My sister lives there.
Oh, let's make it Watershaw. I have some student sociological surveys of it already. We can pick a suitable group from that.
We've got to make this an ironclad demonstration. We'll have to pick some little 2-foot nothing club that nobody would ever expect to grow. Some miserable, pathetic little organization. We found the perfect test guinea pig. The Watershaw Wednesday night sewing circle. Caswell and I drove over next Thursday night to a meeting. They always met Thursday night, except every once in a while when the chairlady forgot to have her hair set, in which case they met Friday.
Girls, we have business to conduct, girls. Helen, please.
Oh, well, the regular meeting is now called to order.
Bernice.
Just a minute, dear. Will this
Bernice.
You're out of order, dear.
It's not a regular meeting.
But of course it is. It's Thursday, isn't it?
I distinctly remember when we had that special meeting on Tuesday for Toby's baby shower. We adjourned sine or die when she started to have pain.
Oh, my goodness, it was false labor. That certainly doesn't count.
But this meeting is just a continuation of the other one.
Oh. How do you feel, Toby?
Fine. A little out of breath.
Did you try a little dry toast just before climbing the stairs?
But, Bernice...
My doctor said to breathe deeply through my nose and to have Henry tie my shoes for me.
Well, I'd like to see Alfred tie anything for me. It's 3 years since I dared get a dress that zipped up the back.
Madam Chairman, I rise to a point of order.
Well, my goodness, Helen, you don't have to be a martyr about it.
That's the way the meeting of the Watershaw Sewing Circle went on. After a prolonged parliamentary battle, the point was finally carried that this was the tail end of a previously adjourned special meeting. At this point, the secretary, who had shorthand training, read the minutes.
It was moved by Harriet that a vote of confidence be registered in the administration of the club's business by Bernice. The motion was seconded by Elsie, who said she thought it was only fair because Bernice didn't even have an unlimited phone. And look at all the calls she had to make on club business. The motion was amended by Joan to include Bernice Calloway as well as Bernice Hackett, because with 2 Bernices, the whole thing would be confusing, and it didn't seem fair to discriminate between Bernices, because Bernice Calloway didn't have an unlimited phone either. And besides, her phone was way upstairs in the bedroom without even a kitchen extension. The motion was defeated because of the lack of a quorum.
Finally, the new business of the meeting was reached, and Bernice, introduced Professor Caswell and myself as observing professors doing a survey of charitable institutions. After the business meeting, brownies, sponge cake, and apricot peekaboo cookies were served with coffee. Caswell and I drew the unlimited Bernice aside.
You see, Mrs. Hackett, I've been making a few notes on a slightly modified constitution and bylaws for your organization.
You have?
You see, it all depends on having a competent and capable lady in charge.
Oh, yes. Yes,
Frankly, this plan would be dangerous unless there was a woman of great character elected to the post of chairlady.
Well, of course.
You see, there are several ways of, influencing an election. That's why it's important that only the right people fully understand this.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely. Why, the organization was just floundering before the last election. Now, can I see those plans, Professor? They sound like they're just what we need.
Naturally, she was hooked. As Caswell buttered her up, her eyes began to gleam, and she studied the simple little bylaws and constitution the professor had drawn up, nodding happily as the classic beauty of the scheme struck home. The meeting broke up when, after 4 brownies and a wedge of butterscotch cashew angel food surprise, Toby started to have real labor pains. We found out later it was a 9.5-pound boy. Caswell and I left the meeting and stopped for a pizza and beer to get the taste of the apricot peekaboo cookies out of our mouths.
Well, there you are, Dr. Holloway. They adopted our bylaws with only one dissenting vote.
I don't like that secretary. She's a spoiler, always suspicious. My first wife was like that.
Don't worry, she hasn't got a chance. That Bernice woman has clear sailing under my equations. It's rigged to favor an aggressive extrovert over the paranoidal personality.
You're sure it'll work now?
I'd stake my academic reputation on it.
You have?
Don't worry, Dr. Holloway. We've given that sewing circle more growth drives than the Roman Empire.
We let the whole thing gel for a while. About 4 months later, I shook loose from my schedule and dropped over to see Caswell. He looked up from a student paper on the correlation of Bermuda shorts seen at Madison Avenue and 46th Street to the swing towards Democratic candidates in the Corn Belt.
Good morning, Dr. Holloway. Good morning.
Caswell, I just wanted you to know we hadn't forgotten you. And now, about that sewing club business, I'm beginning to feel the suspense. Could I get an advance report on how it's coming?
Well, I haven't been following it that closely. We're supposed to let it run the full 6 months and then check.
But I'm curious. Could I get in touch with that woman? What's her name? Bernice something?
Hackett. Bernice Hackett.
Would it change the results if we checked it now?
Not in the slightest. If you want to graph the membership rise, it should be going up in a long curve, probably doubling ever so often.
Well, if it's not rising, you're fired, you know.
If it's not rising, you won't have to fire me. I'll burn my books and shoot myself.
I went back to my office and put in a call to Watershaw. Mrs. Hackett wasn't in. The maid informed me she was at the meeting. That sounded better. If the sewing circle was meeting on a Saturday, then maybe Caswell had a chance. But she wasn't going to a sewing circle meeting. There was another organization, the Civic Welfare League. I hung up the phone and thought about poor Caswell. If the sewing circle had really gone up the flue, he was on his way up with it. I decided to go over to Watershaw and check to give the poor old goat the benefit of the doubt. The meeting of the Welfare League was in the Knights of Columbus building, a tremendous pile used for dozens of club meetings at a time. There was some kind of political rally going on in the main hall. Streets were jammed, and I figured I was going to have a tough time finding the little back room where the Civic Welfare League was meeting. I figured they must be in a pretty bad way trying to hold a meeting in competition with a brawl like the one in the main room.
Right this way,
look,
sir.
Miss, I'm looking for a small meeting.
Well, here you are. Membership application, song sheet, bylaws, and plans.
No, you don't understand. I don't want
Well, that's all right. You can keep it. It's a new membership kit. Everyone's supposed to have it. We've just printed up 6,000 copies to make sure there'll be enough for this meeting.
No, you don't understand, Miss. I'm looking for the meeting of the Civic Welfare League.
Well, this is it.
No, I mean the one with Mrs. Hackett. Bernice Hackett.
Do you know her? Well, there she is up on the speaker's platform.
And now, after the ushers have passed among you with membership blanks, it is time to rededicate ourselves to the principles we stand for. With a bright and glowing future, the best people in the best planned town in the country, the jewel of the United States. All we need is more members. Now get out there and recruit! Recruit! Recruit!
I cornered Bernice Hackett at the speaker's table. She had a clear, sparkling look to her eye, and she was dressed in a trim gray suit with a towering feather on a small hat. A clutch of pretty junior ushers, all with goose pimples showing above strapless formals, clustered about her. I managed to get to see her in the back room while the mayor was addressing the meeting.
Hello there. It's a pleasure to see you.
What happened to the sewing circle?
Oh, it's just a little change, that's all. Helen, dear.
Yes, BH.
Send those wires out to the senator in Washington. You can tell him we want his support on the slum clearance or else. Check. Now, let's see, where were we? Oh, yes. We started growing by amalgamating with other small charity groups. Worked much more efficiently that way.
Bernice, we're running out of membership blanks.
Call the printer. He's got instructions to keep the type standing.
Check.
Naturally, we had to change our name each time. But we've still got the same constitution and bylaws, the ones you professors worked out for us.
Then you've been growing.
Oh, dear, yes.
Bernice, what do we do about the town board of aldermen?
I explained to them they can't get in at a group rate. Each one will have to join separately. Check. Oh, yes, Professor. We're growing and growing and growing.
I kept close watch on the sewing at the Civic Welfare League for the rest of the month. Evidently, they'd swallowed up the real estate organization because they came out with a plan to attract new industries to town, and there was a gimmick splitting up the profits among club members only. It was the same provision Caswell built in to split up profits from dues and fines, but now it was operating in the 100,000s. I graphed the rise in membership, and it went up like the first rise in a roller coaster. I went over to Caswell's office to tell him the good news.
Naturally, I knew the equations would work.
Well, don't be so calm about it. With a demonstration like this, I can get all kinds of grants and funds for the sociology department. You'll think it's snowing money.
Well, naturally, I expected this. I haven't been following the test at all, but I was quite confident.
I don't mind admitting I wasn't. Well, that organization sure blew up. Now, let's see the formula for stopping it.
Oh, I didn't complicate the organization with negatives. I wanted it to grow. It falls apart naturally when it stops growing for more than 2 months. You remember we built into it the idea that the members know what happens if the membership stops growing. Why, if I tried to stop it now, they'd cut my throat.
Yeah, they sure were enthusiastic at that meeting.
No, we'll just let it play out to the end of its tether and die of old age.
And when will that be?
Well, it can't grow past the female population of the town. There are only so many women in Waukesha, and some of them don't like sewing.
Sewing? Caswell!
What's the matter? Are you sick?
You haven't been following the experiment?
Why, no. I told you I haven't even thought about it since we started.
Well, they wanted to expand, and they weren't going to let sewing stand in their way. They went from general charity to social welfare schemes to something that's pretty close to an incorporated government. They're now filing an application to change their name to the Civic Property Pool and Social Dividend Membership Combine.
Well, very interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Fascinating.
Dr. Caswell, tell me, where does the formula say it will stop?
Oh, I shouldn't worry. It stops when you run out of people to join it. After all, there are only so many people in Waukesha. It's a pretty small town.
Yes, it is. Doctor, they've opened a branch office in New York. Caswell got out his slide rule then, and we went over the charts I had been keeping. He ran the results through the physics department's new analog computer to check the results.
Yes, it checks.
Well,
now, allowing a certain lag of contagion from one nation to another, language and cultural barriers, it will reach total world population in 12 years. About 1 week after that, various isolated pockets, Australian Bushmen, Tibetans, African Pygmies, will all be members.
You mean only 12 years?
Give or take a week, 12 years.
The whole world?
Well, there is something to be said for a worldwide government. Many people are definitely in favor of it.
But under Bernice Hackett, the whole world?
Oh, you asked me for a demonstration. The equation works.
But what happens when the whole world is organized and there are no new members?
Well, 2 months after the organization stops growing, it collapses. It's built in the formula.
Yes, but what happens then?
Oh. Well, I haven't the faintest idea. I haven't carried the equations that far.
Look, Caswell, whatever happens, I don't want anyone to ever pin this on me. From now on, if anyone asks me, I never heard of Watershaw. Well, that was 12 years ago. I think Caswell and I are about the only men on Earth who don't hold membership cards in the United Terrestrial Civic Welfare and International Property Pool. Bernice Hackett, Global Administrator. It's a race against time now. There hasn't been a new member in a week and a half, and Bernice is anxiously awaiting news from the first Mars Expeditionary Fleet. And as she says, if only they find life there. We need new members, desperately.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Stars, My Destination, the first installment of a 4-part serial by Alfred Bester, a brilliant novel on teleportation in the world of the future. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Snowball Effect, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Catherine MacLean and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Ted Osborne, Wendell Holmes, Warren Parker, Audrey Blum, Mary Patton, Patsy O'Shea, and Peggy Allenby. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Thousands of hearts are being saved today, and many persons with heart disease are learning how to live happier and more useful lives. The fact is, most heart patients can keep on working often at the same job. This progress is the result of intensive medical research which you support when you give to the Heart Fund. Send a contribution now to your local Heart Association or to Heart, care of your post office. When you help your Heart Fund, you help your heart. Only NBC Radio brings you the whole convention story. Listen tonight.
In just a moment, X-1. But first...
Once again, NBC Bandstand brings you some of the nation's top name bands in person. This week, Ralph Flanagan fills your weekday mornings with his wonderful hit tunes. Slow numbers or fast, there's no mistaking the delightful Flanagan style. And then, Art Mooney and his orchestra are also on hand with plenty of lively and rhythmic arrangements. The four lads take the Mr. Music spot this week, and Bert Parks is back as permanent MC. Hear them all on NBC Bandstand.
Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Surface Tension by James Blish.
Come in, Professor. Come in. Mr. President, do sit down. I'm terribly sorry to have kept you waiting.
Time has very little significance, sir.
Well, now, what is the urgent nature of your visit?
Mr. President, for some time now at the Nuclear Institute, a group of us have been making a study of a new star. which has entered our constellation.
Yes, the military advised me there was some disturbance.
We've completed our calculations, sir.
And?
Before I give you our results, let me tell you that we've been in touch with the Scientific Council of the Asian Confederation. They've verified the results.
I'm waiting, Professor.
Mr. President, the effect of this new star in our galaxy will be extremely catastrophic. At the rate it's expanding, it will cause the sun to explode.
The what?
The sun is going to explode.
But, well, that means...
Exactly. The world will end in precisely 2 weeks and 7 hours.
This is incredible. Are you absolutely certain of these calculations?
Absolutely.
Does anyone know of this?
Well, as soon as we guessed where our study was leading us, we classified all information. The actual final results are known only to a small group of scientists here and in the Asian Confederation.
2 weeks.
And 7 hours.
That would be September 4th, 2056.
At approximately 12 noon.
Is there anything to be done?
Nothing.
The other planets, Mars, Venus...
All will be destroyed. The universe as we know it will disintegrate.
And the race?
Will vanish.
It's impossible.
Those are the facts, Mr. President. How you choose to make them public, if you do choose to make them public, is a matter of government.
Yes, of course. Has the president of the Asian Confederation been notified?
He's being notified at this moment.
I intend to take the following steps, Professor. First, I will contact the Asian Confederation. What's the name of their chief scientist?
Dr. Gorlick.
Ah, yes. I'll propose that you and Dr. Gorlick be given every resource to find a method of preserving the race. You'll be flown to their laboratories by rocket ship in an hour.
I would like to spend these remaining days with my family.
Your family can accompany you.
They'll ask questions.
They should know better by now.
You will not release the information to the public.
I would prefer to keep it a complete secret, provided the Asians agree, of course. A public announcement would only create utter panic and chaos. I assume it will happen instantaneously?
Yes, instantaneously.
Then secrecy is best.
One thing, Mr. President.
Yes?
I wonder if perhaps religious leaders should be told.
Professor, I believe in the power of God myself. I also believe that my single prayer can be heard by the Almighty just as well as if there were 10 million.
There will at least be 2 of us, Mr. President. I, too, will pray.
Dr. Gorlick?
Professor, how nice to meet you again. Do sit down, sit down.
Thank you.
Quite a problem, eh?
It's quite a problem.
If the rest of the world knew what we too know.
I feel they should be informed, nevertheless.
Well, that part of it is for the administrators. We have our own work.
Do you seriously believe that we have the remotest chance of solving this problem in the 2 weeks that remain for the universe to exist?
That depends on what you consider a solution, Professor.
Anything that will preserve the race.
In that case, we have a solution.
You're joking.
About so serious a matter? Hardly. But would you step over to the table, please? Now, if you will be so good, look into that eyepiece in front of you while I focus it. Will you tell me, please, what you see there?
Fascinating. Most unusual.
Would you be good enough to describe it?
Yes, of course. I see what looks like a section of a large swimming pool. Plant life. Very tiny, and some kind of animal life, almost molecular in size.
Good. Now let me change the magnification.
Possible.
Go on, please. Describe.
What? I see what looks like dogs, cats, a cow. All evidently swimming underwater in this medium. Wait. Yes, they seem to be dogs and cows and cats, except that they appear to have gill-like breathing apparatus.
Good.
It looks as if somehow these species have been mutated to live underwater.
Exactly.
Well, I don't understand how this is possible. It would take hundreds of generations, thousands of years possibly to effect such a change, even with modern genetic control.
Is the key, Professor. Let me ask you another question.
Yes?
Would you estimate the size of these creatures?
I would say they're normal size.
And the size of the pool, as you call it?
A tank of quite enormous size. I cannot see the walls, but I assume they are there.
Good. Now, Professor, prepare yourself for a shock.
I've been a scientist too long to shock easily, Dr. Gorley.
Nonetheless, you will be shocked to learn that what you have just been looking into is a single microscopic drop of water, less than a milligram.
A single drop of water?
Yes.
Those dogs and cats are microscopic?
Submicroscopic, smaller than a filterable virus.
This is incredible, Doctor.
Incredible, perhaps, but we have done it.
How?
We found a way to reduce the size of the original fertilized eggs through bombardment of the molecules. In this way, we can produce a full-size dog that is infinitesimal.
And you believe this will help us solve our problem?
I am convinced of it.
What do you propose?
This is our plan. We will create submicroscopic humans. At the submicroscopic level, 1,000 generations can reproduce in the equivalent of a few seconds of time. In less than an hour, we can have a species of human that is capable of living underwater.
Gill breathers?
Precisely.
And then what?
Don't you see, my friend? In a single drop of water, we can reproduce as many human beings as now live in the city of New Chicago or Trans-Europa.
But when the sun explodes in 2 weeks' time, all life, even that in a single drop of water, must perish.
That is true, Professor. But remember this. To a submicroscopic species of human, 2 weeks would be the equivalent of some 20 million years on Earth. In other words, to these human beings, starting tomorrow, the species will have hundreds of thousands of generations, each living a full life, before the final explosion of the universe.
Almost like playing God.
I am not a subscriber to the concept of God, Professor. I must say I'm slightly shocked to discover that you, a man of science...
Believes in a creator? I do, Doctor.
In any event, will you help us go ahead with our experiment?
I have no choice.
Good. We'll begin tonight to produce the first species. Careful with the virus.
Here's the tube.
Now then, we'll place this in a drop of water underneath the lens of the microscope.
What about the evaporation and condensation of the drop?
All outside factors will be controlled. Temperature, humidity, and so on. Will you turn on the lens, please? Now, using the highest magnification, we'll be able actually to manipulate a single being with electron magnets. A sensation we would interpret, possibly, as we interpret a centrifugal force. Ready?
Ready.
Good. We begin the experiment. Time?
1900 hours, 56 minutes, 3 seconds. Coming up on 0.4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Observation. The first fertilized ovum, reduced to submicroscopic size, has begun to develop. Time?
1956, 20 seconds. Coming up on 2, 1, 0.
4 submicroscopic human beings have been reproduced. 2 appear to be males, 2 females. Time?
1956, 24.
Observation. 10 generations of submicroscopic humans have been reproduced. Webbed toes and fingers, and elementary gill modifications have begun in response to submersion of species in highly oxygenated vapor. Time?
1956-45.
100 generations have reproduced. Increased water in vapor has resulted in gill structure, species now ready for total submersion in a droplet of water. Turn on the electron magnet. Now for the crucial part of the experiment. Total submersion.
If any should die, I feel like a murderer.
The prolongation of the human race is at stake. It's a calculated risk.
Still.
Steady. I am about to effect the transfer. Steady. Now. Done. Look in the microscope, quickly.
I can't find them.
Let me. They're alive and swimming around.
How many?
Thousands. We've done it, Professor. Inside that drop of water, human beings like you and me, except for their gills, are already beginning to establish a civilization that will last for them millions of years.
And for us?
2 weeks to observe and wonder, and then...
Unless a miracle should occur.
Let us begin now. Time, please.
1900 hours, 56 minutes, 49 seconds, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Observation. The equivalent of 1,000,000 years has already passed inside our droplet of water. Human life is firmly established.
Sir! Come in, Lavin. Come in.
I swam down from the museum. I'm exhausted.
Rest yourself. Would you like some proto steak?
No, thank you.
Breath of oxygen, perhaps? 100 proof, distilled from pure upper-level water.
A breath, perhaps.
Now then, I assume that you come about the plate.
Yes. Naturally, the directors of the museum are most anxious.
I haven't completed the translation yet.
It's been 6 months.
Yes, I know that, but they're incomplete. One of them was evidently lost during the final battle with the Eaters.
Sure. Can you tell me off the record what you've already deciphered?
Well, first, let me warn you. These plates were prepared thousands of generations ago. They're highly romantic. What they tell us may be fantasy.
Still, I'm fascinated. After all, the greatest archaeological discovery of all time, buried 1,000,000 years in the ooze of the bottom.
Very well. The first line of the oldest plate reads as follows. It goes, "In the beginning, we were created."
Created? What an extraordinary concept. By whom? What about evolution?
Yeah, let me finish. It goes, "We were created by men who are not as we are, but who are our ancestors all the same. They were caught in some disaster, and they made us and put us here in our universe so that the race of men might live on."
Ridiculous.
Perhaps.
Well, this supposes a universe other than ours.
The theory has been advanced before.
By fools.
Fools? Look at us, Lavin. Are we really suited to this universe? Our gills, our webbed feet, these are the product of evolution and adaptation. But the shape of our bodies, the way we swim...
Well, I'll admit there's some basis for the theory, but every experiment, every attempt to prove that anything exists outside, that the surface can be pierced...
According to the plates, the surface can be pierced. Listen to this passage. There are 3 surfaces of the universe. The first is the bottom, where the water ends. The second is the thermocline, the dividing water between the bottom and the sky. The third is the surface film beyond which none can pass. And beyond the surface film, beyond the surface is the universe of the creators.
Well, the whole thing sounds like a parable or a song.
Whatever it is, remember this. Thousands of generations pondered the miracle of our existence before these plates were written.
Primitive.
Men.
You sound like a mystic, Shar. To think that a scientist like yourself could believe in the existence of creators. Nonetheless, creators who were formed in our own image.
Or we in theirs.
I'm shocked, truly.
I intend to complete the translation of the plates. I will pursue this project for the rest of my life, if necessary.
Time, Professor?
Second day, 14 hours, 6 minutes, 10 seconds.
Observation. The plates which were inscribed with microscopic data by an earlier generation have evidently been removed by a subsequent generation. Our study shows that a highly developed civilization is now living in the drop of water. Certain water organisms have been domesticated and underwater ships have been developed.
The meeting of the council is called to order. Gentlemen, you all know the topic. Our speaker will be Shar.
Gentlemen, some 28 time units ago, when I was a much younger man, I was given the privilege of translating some metal plates found buried in the bottom. As all of you know, I've devoted much of my life to convincing the world that travel through the surface film was not only possible but necessary to survival. Finally, the council has seen fit to grant my request for a special ship to accomplish this travel. I'm deeply grateful, and I would like to request my friend Lavin as head engineer for this project.
Permission is granted. We wish you luck. The whole of our world will be following your expedition.
What's happening, Dr. Gorlick?
From what I can detect, the Guild Breeders are preparing for the equivalent of space travel. A large cylindrical ship is being built.
What method of power are they using?
I can barely detect it through the microscope, but my guess would be that they will use some form of living creatures to power the vessel.
Shar to leader. Shar to leader.
Leader, go ahead, Shar.
The ship is ready to take off for the upper levels, leader.
Water sealed in?
All tight.
Diatom's ready to move?
Diatom's ready.
We'll give you an escort of paramecium ships as far as the upper level. After that, you'll be on your own.
Very good. Whenever you give the signal, Captain, Lavin can order the diatoms to proceed.
The sandbar is clear for the initial climb. Your course is straight up the stem of Water Plant 6. Diatoms ready?
Diatom's ready, sir.
Cilia in motion?
Cilia in motion.
Internal water circulators on?
Circulators on.
Countdown for takeoff. 5.
5.
4.
4.
3.
3.
2.
2.
1.
1.
0.
Diatom's in motion. Full speed ahead.
Good luck.
Well, Shar, this is the beginning of your dream.
If the ship holds.
We've utilized every engineering principle known to man. Double construction of the toughest water lily, 2,000 living diatoms for power, 20 million sun.
I'm not worried about the power. I'm worried about the temperature and the impact when we reach the surface film.
What's our speed?
20,000 knots.
Well, we've reached Water Plant 6. Now for the climb up the stem to the surface. Overseer.
Overseer.
Request more mucus from diatoms. Proceed with climb up stalk 6.
Yes, sir.
If the diatoms can hold the stalk at the reduced pressure of the surface, we'll have hurdled the first barrier.
We're at pressure 6 now, almost at the upper level.
Captain.
Yes?
We've lost 27 diatoms. Ciliary detachment.
Not serious. We have the vorti to fall back on. Proceed.
Yes, sir.
What's our pressure?
3 coming into 2 now.
We're already closer to the surface film than man has ever gone.
Our unmanned test ships went through.
Unmanned test ships are a different story, Lavin. Besides, if we do get through to the other side, our problems may just be starting.
Oh, we're entering pressure 1 zone.
Yeah. We're getting too much oxygen in the water.
Engineer, switch to internal water supply for breathing.
Lavin.
What is it?
The scopes, look.
I can't look now. What is it?
Yes, I can see it. I can see the surface film.
Describe it.
A great black whirling mass. Huge boulders and asteroids being whirled and ground back and forth like some tremendous boiling mass of mud and stone.
It isn't too late to turn back.
No, the ship was built to go through the film. If we fail, at least we can die knowing we tried.
Very well, sir. Overseer, order all diatoms. Full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead. Full speed ahead.
Film, Shar.
Pressure on the ship is increasing.
Overseer, more oxygen for the diatoms.
Captain, the diatoms are dying.
More oxygen. Keep moving. We're almost through. Shar, use the auxiliary vorti. Maybe the motion of their cilia and the thrust of the water.
Overseer, bring up the vorti. Full speed ahead.
We're moving. We're making headway. Oh, the ship will only hold together. Shar, we're through. We're on the surface. Open a viewing port.
It's blinding. Put on your eye shield.
Look, Shar. Like a huge sheet of metal stretching as far as the eye can see, with thousands of small streams and great rivers of water.
Look above us, Lavin. Space as far as one can see. And a single huge sun like a great eye looking down at us. Must be billions of miles above us.
See those enormous boulders and that molten rock on the surface?
The ancients did not lie when they made the plates, Lavin. The universe does exist beyond the surface.
Yes, but where are your creators, sure? Certainly they were a romantic notion.
I believe they exist, Lavin.
Sure.
Captain, the diatoms are dying. There's not enough oxygen in the water cases.
What's the atmosphere like?
Almost 30% oxygen, completely unbreathable.
We'll have to try to get back into the surface film to restore life to the diatoms. Overseer, get the diatoms out of their shells. Full reverse speed down the stalk. We're going under again.
Yes, sir. I'll try.
We know one thing, Lavin. The surface can sustain life.
Can't sustain ours much longer. Full reverse.
It's no use, Captain. The diatoms are near death.
Use the vortex.
We haven't enough water, sir. They're starting to suffocate.
We've got to get back beneath the surface.
Lavin, we must think of what it means to mankind to know that the universe goes on, that it can sustain life.
I don't know what to do, Shaw. We're finished.
There must be a way.
A way? Why don't you pray to your creators now? Perhaps they'll help you. And as for me, I'm resigned to death.
I cannot share your bitterness, Lavin.
We have enough water for perhaps 2 minutes breathing, sure. There are no miracles and no creators. You'd better prepare to die.
I am as ready as you, Lavin.
Captain, we're strangling.
Well, sir, why don't you pray to the creators? Better still, let me. I have a louder voice. Hey, creators! You all-powerful ones who made us, can you hear me? This is Captain Lavin of the first ship to breach the surface. We need your help. Can you hear me? We need your help.
If there be creators, and I believe there are, then I ask that our presence be noted, and that we be delivered from this trial not for ourselves, but for the good of the race.
Well, Doctor?
The ship has emerged from the film and is lying on the surface. There is no movement now.
Probably strangling from lack of water.
Very likely.
What are you going to do?
It's a pity they can't get back again. Eventually, they may have to learn to live on the surface when the temperature changes.
Why not help them? You've played God before.
Why not, indeed? Switch on the electron magnet.
Ready.
Now then, if I can just breach the surface tension near them, they'll be sucked under again, as in a whirlpool. If they survive...
You'd better hurry.
Here goes.
Can't live much longer, Charlie.
No. It's getting... What's that?
I don't know.
We're moving.
Downward.
Lavin, it's a vortex. A vortex is opening through the surface.
One way or another, we'll die. The ship can't take the stress.
We're dropping.
Sure.
Lavin, we're through. We made it. The water is circulating again.
It's too much to believe, sure. It's like...
A miracle.
Yes. It is a miracle. Well, Doctor?
They've gotten through. The ship is floating down toward the bottom now.
I wonder what they thought at the moment they were saved. Must have seemed to them as if the hand of God reached out to help them.
Very likely.
Do you suppose they prayed?
To whom would they pray?
I don't know. Perhaps to us? To the creators?
It is not inconceivable. If only the human race, as we know it, had creators who could reach down and save us from destruction.
How do you know we don't?
Professor, I'm a scientist.
So am I, Doctor. Those submicroscopic humans can't see us because we're too big to see. A molecule of our flesh would be like a world to them. And yet, we exist. We cannot hear their individual voices, perhaps, but we are capable of intervention of a sort. Is it not conceivable that our own plight might not be seen and recognized? What else is there at this time but to admit our inadequacy and to cast off this arrogance that gives us bitter pride instead of humility?
Where are you going, Professor?
To pray, Doctor. There isn't much time.
Professor.
Yes?
Wait. I will come with you.
have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Jackpot by Clifford D. Simak. After years of searching, they had discovered the richest strike in the whole galaxy. But what in the name of space was it? Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Surface Tension, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James Blish and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Louis Van Rooten, Danny Acco, Lawson Zerbe, Larry Haynes, Mason Adams, James Stevens, and Robert Hastings. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Scott Buckley and is an NBC Radio Network production.
While waiting for darkness to cover the magic island of Euclidia, Jerry and Joan have gone on a tour of the island, leaving Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory on the captive yacht. Mrs. Gregory's daughter, Joan, who has spent nearly all of her 15 years on the island, has undertaken to show Jerry the submarine locks on the 5th level below the surface of the artificial island. They descend to the proper level in the magnetic elevator, but the door fails to open. Jerry and Joan are now badly frightened as they hear the rushing of water outside the elevator shaft. They've been there for some time, and the air in the elevator car is getting very bad.
Jerry, I can hardly breathe. What are we going to do?
Must be some way to get air into this thing. These Euclideans are too smart not to figure on accidents in these elevators.
You're right, Jerry. There's an oxygen tank. Small valve in the ceiling. I forgot.
Just like a girl. Where is it?
Feel around on the ceiling. Up there in the dark.
Yeah. Nope. Can't reach it. Not tall enough.
Then we're going to suffocate. Jerry, I can hardly breathe.
Wait a minute. I'll stand in the corner. Oh, the corner here. It's round. Maybe I can brace myself, yeah. Now, I'll make a cradle of my hands. Feel around me, can't you?
Yes, Jerry. I will. There, I feel your face.
Well, you can't stand on my face. Run your hands down my arms. Feel how I've got my hands fixed?
Yes, Jerry.
Then put your foot in my hands. Get your hands behind my head. Lift yourself up. Then take one hand loose. Feel around on the ceiling. If you grab a valve, turn it on.
I will try. There now. Hold me, Jerry.
Quit pulling my hair. I'll hold you. Hurry up. My chest hurts.
I think I have it, Jerry.
Then turn it on.
Oh, Jerry. I can feel it. The oxygen. Oh, it feels so good. It almost hurts.
Then get down. You must be breathing it all in up there. Jump down.
Yes, Jerry.
Oh, boy. That's good stuff. Whee. I'm going to carry a tank of that stuff with me after this. Whenever we go out sightseeing on this crazy island.
I've never known anything just like this to happen. One of the submarine locks must have broken and let the ocean flood in.
Plenty of pressure at 6 fathoms, too. Can they pump it out?
Oh, yes. The chambers are all made so they may be flooded deliberately, then pumped out.
What's that for?
In case of escape, the local prism reflectors in the control chambers will locate the escapers. Then the switches are thrown to close the automatic doors around the section they're trying to escape through. And the water turned on.
Golly whiskers. These guys are plenty mean, aren't they?
Yes, Jerry. No one can imagine the awful things on Euclidia.
Well, when we get rescued, Captain Bradford and your mother will know how to use all these slick inventions to do a lot of good back in our world.
Listen. The water has nearly stopped running around this elevator shaft.
I can't hear anything but a buzzing in my ears. It feels kind of funny and dizzy.
Oh, I forgot. The oxygen. We must turn it off again, Jerry. Too much is not good for us.
Okay. Get up on my hands again.
Yes, Jerry, I will.
Hey! You stuck your finger in my eye.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so am I. I'll be glad when the lights come on in this thing. Now, up you go. Can you reach it?
Yes, I can feel it.
And shut it off.
That is done. My head feels queer, too.
Boy, you sure hit the floor hard. Hurt you?
No, but I'm... Listen.
Yeah, you can hear the pumps working. Sound like they're working mostly on air. The water must be all gone.
Then we shall soon be out of here.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Here comes the light.
Yes, we can see now. Oh, this is much nicer.
I'll say it is. They sure built these elevators right anyway. Not a drop of water got in. Can we start this thing?
Not yet. When you hear the permanent magnets release the car and the portative magnets take hold, then we may safely actuate the control button.
Yeah, you're feeling better, all right. I can tell by the big words. When you were scared in the dark, you talked pretty near human. But now that everything's okay, you got to spout large language.
Now, Jerry, do not make fun of me. I was so...
Hey, Joan. Jiminy Crickets, Joan. Cut that out.
I cannot help it. I have never cried before. It feels so good.
Oh. Well, if that ain't just like a girl, it feels so good to cry. I'll bet you have a swell time at funerals. Oh, turn off the water. Golly whiskers, here. Take my handkerchief and wipe your eyes. And for the love of Pete, quit bawling.
Thank you, Jerry.
There's water outside the elevator, water inside the elevator. You women are all alike. You're mighty smart and brave till things get rough. Then we men have to step in and help you.
You're wonderful, Jerry.
I know it.
There go the magnets, Jerry.
I can hear them.
We'll soon be able to start the car.
Won't be any too soon for me.
There now. The pumps have stopped.
And the magnets have stopped clicking. Can we go now?
Yes. The door should open automatically, just as it would have when the car reached this level if the water had not flooded the chamber outside.
Well, if it ain't opening very fast, what can we do to hurry it?
Nothing. If it does not open automatically, someone is keeping it closed. That can be done from the control chambers.
Oh, what would they want to do that for?
Some important experiment must have failed, and G47 does not want anyone to see what happened.
G47's afraid to let anybody know he can make a mistake, huh?
I think that is it. We of Euclidia are allowed to see only perfect things. The scientists would have us think they never make a mistake.
Well, if we can't land here, let's go up to one of the other levels and look around there. Nothing's ever going to scare me after drowning like we did.
Oh, we did not drown, Jerry.
We thought we were going to, same thing. I'm going to push this button for the first level. If anything else goes wrong, I want to be near the top. Here it goes.
Oh, the car is actually ascending. Oh, I'm so happy.
Now cut that out. Don't you go blubbering again. There's the fourth level. We're up this far anyhow.
And we're going up smoothly now, Jerry. We will soon be out in the open air again.
Not until we look around on this first level, we won't. Hey, that's funny. The car didn't stop at the third level like it did at the others.
That means the third level is sealed off. Some secret work is going on there.
Same thing on the second level. You sure don't get to see much when you go on a sightseeing tour of this island.
Just be patient, Jerry. Before we leave the island, you will have seen nearly all of it. If we ever leave it.
There goes the first level. Guess we don't see anything.
Oh, I'm glad, Jerry. I want to get back to my mother's yacht and see Mother and the captain. I've been on this island nearly all my life, Jerry. I do not like it.
I guess you're right, Joan. This place hasn't been any fun for you. What's going on now?
Now this car has picked up the top of the elevator shaft housing. We're raising it above the ceiling of the island with us.
Well, if that door doesn't open automatically for us when we get all the way up, I'm going to find some way to break out of this car.
Now we're at the top. The door will open now.
Well, it better. Hey, listen. What's that noise?
Oh, that is rain, Jerry. It rains very hard here in Euclidia.
Oh, it's a wonder old G47 hasn't figured out a way to stop the rain. He's figured everything else.
Now, Jerry, the door is opening.
Yeah. Boy, and look at it rain. About as wet up here as it was down there. Well, come on, get ready to run for it.
Run where?
Oh, to the Gregory yacht, of course. Where do you think? Boy, that rain's wet. Do we have to shut the door?
No, the door closes automatically. See, it is closing.
Come on, Joan. Hang on to my hand. We're going to get plenty wet, so don't take time to show me anything. And don't stop running till we get to the yacht. That was some sprint. You're all right, Joan? Watch out now. The deck of this yacht is going to be slippery.
I'm so wet, Jerry.
Watch your step now. Now you run into your mother's cabin and get into some dry clothes.
Yes.
I'll go to the captain's cabin. Go on, scoot.
I'll hurry, Jerry.
Talk about rain. I'd better get inside myself. Sorry to bust in without knocking, Captain, but it's... Hey, Tex. Oh, nobody home, huh? Oh, guess he's in the radio cabin or Mrs. Gregory's. Yeah?
Jerry, may I come in?
Yeah, come in.
Oh, Jerry.
Why didn't you change your clothes like I told you to?
Well, my mother is not in her cabin, Jerry, and I have no extra clothing of my own.
Oh, well, then I guess I'll have to give you some of mine. See, here's a good heavy sweater and a pair of pants. They'll keep you dry anyway.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. I'll go to my mother's cabin and put them...
Wait a minute. Something funny here.
Where, Jerry?
On this boat, I mean. Even if Mrs. Gregory and Tex were in the radio room, they'd hear us running and yelling around here, and they'd be worried about why we were gone so long. I wonder where they are.
Do you think something has happened to them?
Gosh, I'm afraid so. Come on. We'll try to find them.
Darkness has fallen on the magic island. Once more, the weird yellow glow of artificial daylight covers the scientific isle of Euclidia in the South Pacific Ocean. Joan Gregory and Jerry Hall returned hours ago to the captive Gregory yacht after a terrifying experience in one of the magnetic elevators, only to find Captain Tex Bradford and Mrs. Gregory are missing from the yacht. A note handed to Jerry by the skipper tells them that Mrs. Gregory and Tex are on a secret mission and to make no move until their return. All is silent on the island, while in the radio cabin of the yacht, Jerry and Joan listen to music from the radio and try to keep themselves cheered up as they wait anxiously for Mrs. Gregory and the captain.
I wish they would hurry, Jerry. I'm so worried.
Oh, cheer up, Joan. Tex can take care of your mother and himself, too.
I know Captain Bradford's a wonderful man, Jerry, and Mother thinks he can accomplish anything. But none of you realize fully the dangers on this horrible island.
Well, it won't help him any for us to run around yelling for him. Just sit still like this note said and listen to the music. Well, it's a good thing old G47 didn't stop our incoming radio beam anyway.
I like this music, Jerry. It's coming from one of your Hollywood radio stations, is it not?
Yeah, and those guys are real hillbillies, too.
What does it mean, this hillbilly? Are they all men from the hills? All with the name William?
Now, look, there's so many things you don't know that I don't know where to start teaching you. Do you like the music or don't you?
Oh, yes, Jerry. I enjoy it thoroughly.
Well, then sit still and listen to it.
Stop it, Jerry. Stop that music.
Okay. There you are now. I'll hold it there, and you go ahead and talk while I listen to
No,
it.
stop it. Stop it, please, Jerry.
Okay. Hold everything.
Oh, I'm sorry to be so much trouble to you, Jerry, but I'm so nervous. And you also are nervous, Jerry.
Oh, nothing of the kind. I'm just as steady as a rock.
Then why are you chewing that lead pencil up?
Never mind me. You just sit still and quit worrying. They'll be along in a minute. I'd better leave this radio open on Johnson's wavelength, I guess.
Jerry, do you know all about my mother and Captain Bradford? I mean about all the mysterious things they do all over the world, and how they can have ships belonging to many countries helping them. So many things. Do you know about that, Jerry?
No, and Mrs. Gregory made me promise I wouldn't ask her any more about it. But we'll find out someday. Hey, now where are you going?
I was just going to look out over the island and see it.
No, you're not. Get away from that door. Now, what did I tell you? Didn't it say in the note for us to act just as if your mother and the captain were here on the yacht with us?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry, but I get so worried.
Well, so do I. But you'll get over there. Get over there and sit down. Go on, I said. Sit down.
Why, Jerry, you're wonderful when you speak like that. So commanding and masterful.
Oh, all us men are like that. We don't expect much from you women. And, of course, I'm 16 and you're only 15. Makes a lot of difference.
Oh, I'm sure it does, Jerry.
I wish they'd hurry, though. That yellow light is all over the island. And if they haven't got any of those strict glasses, they might get lost.
I think they would not be allowed to have the glasses, but they should be able to find their way back to the glare of the yacht lights.
Hey, quiet. Listen.
Why, what is it?
Shh, quiet, I said. Listen.
Someone's coming along the deck.
Sit still. We don't want to act too anxious.
Oh, Mother.
Grandma, dear.
Boy, am I glad to see you folks.
Sorry to leave you kids like that, but we had to get something done quick.
And Tex thought that if you didn't know anything about it, you wouldn't be subject to any danger over the idea.
Oh, Jerry and I had a terrible experience in one of the magnetic elevators.
Yeah, and Joan acted just like a girl. Started right in to cry.
Well, Jerry, you can't expect us women to be as brave as you men.
No, I guess I shouldn't. Well, Tex, did you get some plan of escape figured out?
I hope so. Pat and I took a long chance getting this thing. Is the cabin all tight?
Jerry and I have inspected the opaque cloth covering since the rain. The cabin is quite safe, Captain.
Good girl, Joan. Well, here's what we've got.
What's that? Looks like a pocket fire extinguisher.
That is one of the small oxygen tanks these scientists have in clips in nearly every room on the island.
I have never been allowed to touch one of those, Captain. Did G47 give it to you?
Not exactly.
Gee, you swiped it.
I'm afraid we did, Jerry. I don't approve of taking anyone else's property, but this means our chance to escape from the island, possibly our lives. So we took it.
But when the loss is discovered, G47 will be very angry.
That's why we've got to work fast. I knew they couldn't see me carrying this thing. I had it inside this coat of opaque cloth, but they'll soon discover it's gone.
I'll help you, Tex. What do you want to do?
Tell you in a minute, kid. First, I want to get Joan and Pat started on my celluloid diving suit. You three wait here while I go to my cabin and get it. I'll spring the lock on this door. Don't open for anyone but me.
You look so excited, Mother. Has the captain a good plan?
Yes, dear. Tex has a very fine plan. Not for our immediate escape, but for getting a message to Johnson so that he may arrange our rescue.
I know what it is. He's going to use that celluloid diving suit with this little oxygen tank inside of it to get through the ring of gas in the fog.
Yes, Jerry. The captain is going to try to swim out through that fog ring tonight. And he's going to put one of those homing pigeons inside the suit with him. Then he'll release it when he's safely outside the ring.
That is wonderful, Mother. And it may work if there's nothing metallic on the captain's clothing.
Yeah. Say, that oxygen tank might set off the alarm.
That's taken care of. While you and Joan were gone, I helped the captain cement a lining of the opaque cloth into his celluloid diving suit and his swimming suit. The magnetism won't affect anything inside that cloth.
I think, Mother, that you and Captain Bradford are almost as clever as G47 and his scientists.
What do you mean, almost? Tex has got those Euclideans beat.
Okay, Jerry.
I'll let him in.
Now, we'll have to work fast. I put my swimming suit under this robe, so it won't take long to get ready.
Good.
Jerry, go up in front and get the other pigeon. Hide him under your coat as you did before, and take your time.
Okay, Tex. I'll be careful not to be seen.
Now, Pat, if you and Joan will help me get into this thing.
What a peculiar garment, Captain.
It's airtight and opaque. That's all we need.
J12C to J24Y. Johnson to Bradford. Message for you.
Quiet for this.
Have had no word for you for hours. Transmission conditions perfect here in Los Angeles. Cannot understand why storm north of you should prevent reception by stations east of you. Latest report picked up from oil tanker at 24 degrees south. Says electrical disturbances south of them. Can you hear me, J24Y? If no answer, we'll repeat every quarter hour. That is all. Johnson.
Then there's no hope for the pigeon to reach him. He's gone back to Los Angeles.
Don't worry, Joan. That was all in code. Johnson is really standing by at latitude 24 south right now.
Yes, dear. And when he said he'd received a message from an oil tanker, it meant he had contacted an oil tanker and was refueled. So now he's ready for anything necessary to help us.
You have some clever and loyal friends, Mother. Will you tell me someday
Yes,
just
Joan.
how...
Someday I'll tell you all about Tex and myself and how we're able to do so many things. But now...
It's me.
I'll let him in.
I got him all right, and nobody saw me.
Good boy. Now I'll tie this message to his leg, and you can help Pat and Joan cement me up in this thing with the oxygen tank and the pigeon inside on my back. Then when I get well beyond the fog and gas rings, I'll rip the celluloid shirt off and turn the pigeon loose.
But how are you going to get back through the gas ring? You're going to ruin that suit taking the pigeon out of it.
That worries me, Jerry. Tex thinks he can hold his breath long enough to swim through the gas ring coming back. But I'm afraid. Oh, Tex, if anything should happen to you...
Oh, forget it, Pat. I'll make it. Now, the pigeon is ready. Open the tank so it barely releases the oxygen, Jerry. Joan, you help Pat cement this thing around my waist. Then you can slip the tank and the pigeon down my back and cement the helmet on.
That's about as little as I can let out of the tank, and be sure it'll be continuous, Tex.
Thanks, Jerry. Now, stick the tank down my back so it lays flat along the bulge where this thing is cemented to my swimming belt.
Coming up. Say, that's just going to fit in there.
Here's the pigeon, Tex. You're sure it won't get crushed?
No, there's plenty of space inside this stiff celluloid thing to give the pigeon room. Now, let him down in there easy now.
Little bird isn't a bit frightened, is it, Mother?
We've always been kind to it. It trusts us to continue being kind.
Here's your helmet, Tex.
Just a second. Now, last-minute instructions. I can't talk when that is on. Now, when you cement it all around my shoulders, you, Jerry, walk out on deck with me. Walk between me and the island. I'll have this robe with the island cloth over my head and shoulders. We'll both go to the engineer's quarters. You'll have to stay there till I get back.
But, Tex, how will we know if you get...
If I get into the water and start swimming out without being seen, it's all over but the shouting. So I'll have Jerry get the engineer to make 8 bells for you as soon as I disappear in the water. Okay, put it on.
Let's hold this edge here, Jerry. And you hold that down, Joan. Now hold it tight.
Yes, Mother.
Very tight and smooth while I put the cement around it. Little. There, now hurry now. The cement will dry as you walk the deck, and I'm afraid something will happen any minute. Goodbye, dear, and good luck.
Bye, dear.
All clear, Mrs. Gregory. Throw that robe over his head.
All right, wait a minute. There.
I'll take his arm. Now, we're all set. See you later.
Oh, Mother, it's so wonderful of the captain to think of that.
Yes, dear. And it's so brave of him to attempt it. Oh, I hope we've fixed everything all right.
It seemed all right, and the oxygen tank will last a long time at the rate it was discharging.
I wonder how long it will take him. He said the engineer would make 8 bells for us when he's safely in the water.
It's only a few seconds until 8 o'clock now, Mother, so no one will notice anything out of the ordinary in the bells.
Yes, Tex figured on that, or he wouldn't have used it for a signal.
Isn't it about time now, Mother?
It shouldn't be long. The engineer was expecting him, had the hatch open,
He could get into the water noiselessly from there. And if the pigeon gets away successfully, will it be sure of reaching Johnson's boat?
Easily, Joan. According to the position Johnson gave, he's only 5 degrees north of us, or about 345 miles.
Mother, the signal.
Yes, dear. Tex is gone. He's out in the water, swimming through that gas.
Oh, Tex.
Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, for whose safety Batman and Robin are today greatly concerned. We'll join the famous pair in just a moment. But right now, here is our good friend Dan McCullough.
You know, even though you fellows and girls are mighty fond of eating crisp, sunny-flavored Kellogg's Pep, you're not a bit sorry to see the box empty, because you always know that Mom will get you some more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal double quick. And you know that you'll be adding another of those snappy comic buttons to your collection. Maybe Orphan Annie, with her brilliant red dress and curly hair. Or her dog Sandy, looking so real that he could bark. Or even Superman himself, complete with bright blue jersey and red cape flying in the wind. Now, if it should happen to be a duplicate, you know, a button you already have, well, that's even more fun because you can trade with your pals. So whatever funny paper character it is, you're sure to have another smart-looking comic button to pin on your jacket or your dress or cap. Now, how you get these swell comic buttons is important. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you a good supply of Kellogg's Pep, and she'll find your prize inside the package. One of these brilliant, gleaming comic buttons. Just ask Mom for P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Fearful for his safety while Superman is alive, Mr. Jones, the cunning leader of the Cressman Star Gang, allied himself with a powerful racketeer called the Laugher, who had one of the 2 stolen pieces of kryptonite, the strange green glowing element which robbed Superman of his strength. Jones had a small portion of the element dissolved and dyed the color of ink and placed in an ordinary-looking ink bottle. Then, posing as his twin brother, the kindly music teacher, he pretended to negotiate with Superman for the kryptonite. Suddenly, he removed the stopper of the ink bottle, and as the emanations of the deadly element reached him, the Man of Steel became dazed and helpless. As we continue now, it is 8:30 of a dark, moonless night, and outside the apartment house in which Superman has been trapped, his friends Batman and Robin wait. Listen.
Oh, I don't like this, Robin. Superman's been in there half an hour already.
Stop worrying, Batman.
I can't.
Well, if you have to worry, do it while we walk, will you? It's too cold to stand still on this snow.
You walk if you want to. I'm going to stand right here where I can see both entrances to the apartment.
Both entrances?
Right, the front and the rear. All right. Come on, Robin.
Oh, decided to walk after all?
Just as far as the front entrance hall. Here we are. Inside, come on.
Ah, we wait in here where it's warm, huh?
Nope. We find the bell. We one on the wall there. And we'll ring it.
Well, wait a minute,
I'm not waiting any longer. I didn't like to set it from the beginning. I like it less every minute. Let's see. Now, here we are. Algernon Phillips. First floor front. Now I'll give him a ring.
We can't ask him if Superman is all right. He'll think we're nuts.
Well, tell him we're from the gas company or something.
In these costumes?
And never mind that. Why doesn't he answer?
Are you sure the bell is working?
Yes. I can hear it through the speaking tube.
Ring it again.
That's what I'm doing. Something's wrong, Robin. Come on.
Where?
Around the back way. Now remember, there's a transom over the back door.
Say, you have got the jitters.
There's a crawly feeling I always get on the back of my neck when there's danger.
Will you please tell me how Superman could be in danger with Algernon, the music teacher? He's a mouse.
He's Jones's brother, and Jones is a rat. Also, he's got the kryptonite. Now, here are the stairs.
I see them.
Oh, good. The transom is open a crack. I'll boost you up, and you take a look-see.
Okay, but we're wasting our time.
We'll find out. All right. Up you go.
Check.
Can you see?
Just a minute. Yeah, now I can. Hey, that's funny.
What?
Nobody's home.
You sure?
Positive. Can see the whole layout. There's just a little kitchenette in the music studio. The lights are on, but Superman isn't there. Or Algernon either.
Oh, all right, come on down.
How do you add this up, Batman?
I don't know. They couldn't have left the studio without our seeing them. I was watching both entrances.
Maybe Superman left by a window and took Algernon with him.
No. The only windows are the three in front of the studio. We would have seen them. Now, where... Wait a minute. Of course, come on.
Of course what?
There's a door to the basement under these stairs. You see?
Sure enough.
Here we... Oh, on the double, Robin.
What gives?
There's Mr. Jones in the alley.
Hey, what's that?
Jones, he got away.
In an ambulance. You sure it was Jones?
Jones or his twin brother with two other men. With someone else on a stretcher into an ambulance.
Gosh, who do you suppose that was?
Well, it could have been Superman.
Superman?
Yes. Hey, here comes a truck. Hop in the middle of the alley and flag it.
Good idea. We'll chase the ambulance.
Right. Okay. Hop in, Robin.
Hey, what's the matter? You fellas are standing in front of the truck. Hey, what kind of clothes you got on?
Never mind that, buddy. Quick. Follow those twin tail lights up the alley. Hurry.
No, sorry. I'm tired from a work all the day. I'm a peddling the vegetables.
$100 will rest you up nicely, won't it?
$100?
That's right. Catch that ambulance, and the $100 is yours. Now get going.
Why you don't say that in the first place? Hang on now.
Step on it, will you? We gotta get to that street before they're out of sight.
For $100, I'm a catch him, you betcha.
If this jalopy holds together, you mean? You would draw a coffee grinder like this in a pinch, Batman.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, chum. The ambulance turned right going out the alley, didn't it?
Yes.
Well, better turn right here.
Okay, you betcha.
I don't see the ambulance.
Yes, I hear it. Yeah, the siren, I hear it. Come on, step on it, Tony.
Hey, how do you know my name's Tony?
I'm psychic that way. Can't you get any more speed out of this buggy?
I'm allowed to know, but I'm going to try. Hey, you hold on to your hatch. Ain't got no strings left in the body.
I practically got no body left, but let her rip, Tony. Boy, what a wild ride. You got any idea where we are, Batman?
Yes. This is the Mount George Road. And look, Robin. There goes the ambulance up the mountain.
Uh-huh. What do you suppose they're going up to that deserted neck of the woods for?
I don't know. Except it's for no good. Hey, Tony, do you think your truck can climb that mountain?
My truck, she's a climber anything, even a telegraph pole.
It had better. If we get stuck out here, we're done for. This is no man's land.
I'm a telling you, don't worry. This one fine truck, you betcha my life.
I'm sure it was, back in 1915.
Wait a minute. She's a plenty good right now. She's a kind of... She's a...
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's the matter?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Tony.
Hey, something's the matter with my truck.
Don't look now, but I think we're sliding back downhill.
Oh, Mommy.
Come on, Tony, come on. Get her started again.
I'm afraid this is a dead pigeon, Batman.
Something's the matter with my truck. Come on!
Hurry, man, hurry. That ambulance is almost out of sight.
Oh, that's all, brother.
Oh, the battery's finished. Dead as a doornail.
Uh-huh. Now what do we do?
I'm not to know, gentlemen. I'm afraid that Tony's a truck. She's a finish.
Dismayed, Batman and Robin sit in the disabled vegetable truck, watching the taillights of the ambulance disappear at the top of Mount George, and hearing its siren wail as if in grim irony. We'll return in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. But first, here again is your announcer.
You know, my pal Eddie tells me that it's pretty much a matter of pride with you fellows in the gang not to let the girls get ahead of you, and particularly when it comes to collecting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Of course, now, I don't have any figures to tell just how many buttons fellows and girls have collected, but I do know that I've seen a good many young ladies wearing a good many comic buttons pinned to their jacket or their dress or cap. And I've seen groups of girls in the schoolyard comparing notes on how many they've collected and trading duplicates with each other. Why, it's a real thrill to add a new funny paper character to your collection, like Uncle Walt, for instance, from Gasoline Alley, or young Smitty, the office boy, or Superman himself with his bright red cape and Superman insignia. And you know, the best part is, you don't have to spend any of your allowance to get these exciting comic buttons. And you don't send in a box top. And you can't even buy them anywhere. They come only as exclusive prizes in packages of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. So how about asking Mom to get you some Pep tomorrow? Get your prize from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
In a low rectangular building of stone and steel at the top of Mount George, 60 miles from Metropolis, a strange scene is taking place. A vast laboratory below a domed skylight contains a huge, round, furnace-like object about 10 feet high with steel walls 3 feet thick. Just behind it is a glass-enclosed giant control board, gleaming with dials and small levers. Standing beside it, dwarfed by its size, are a short, dapper Japanese and the slender, scholarly Mr. Jones. Behind them, flanked by Tara, Mr. Jones's Hindu boy servant, and 2 burly men, Superman, barely conscious, lies on a stretcher on the stone floor. His eyes are glazed, and he is kept powerless to move by Tara, who passes the ink bottle containing the kryptonite solution under the Man of Steel's nose at regular intervals. Mr. Jones is speaking.
Everything is ready, Professor Noshima.
Yes, Mr. Jones. The Lopper's men easily conquered the few guards who are here.
How about the cyclotron?
It is in excellent condition.
Good. Now, you're certain you can finish Superman?
Of course, Mr. Jones. As I explained, the Ataman failed to destroy him because the nuclear fission was not properly controlled. What I have done is to prepare a moderator of graphite in the kryptonite given me by the Lopper. The moderator will slow up fission just enough to ensure a chain reaction.
And that will finish Superman?
Completely. He will be disintegrated.
You're certain of this? You can't possibly be mistaken?
Not possibly.
Good, Professor Noshima. Excellent. With Superman dead, we will be safe. Then you will get the other piece of kryptonite from the vulture. And you know what we will do then.
I do indeed, Mr. Jones.
And let's get this over with. Go to work, Noshima.
Very well. You, gentlemen, play Superman in the cyclotron, please. Here, I will open the funnel for you.
Hurry! Tara! Marco!
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Oh, Jones. You can't do it.
The great Superman.
No.
This is the end of you, my friend.
You can't do it, Jones. You can't get in there. Push, Tara.
He's inside.
Yes. I will now close the cyclotron. Like this. Now, if you will sit beside me at the control board, Mr. Jones, the X-ray machine will permit you to see the end of Superman.
Fine, Noshima. Fine.
Now, we begin the fission of the kryptonite. In just one moment now, you will see the utter destruction of Superman.
Evil face twisted into one of his rare gloating smiles, Mr. Jones sits at the huge control board of the cyclotron beside the Japanese scientist, Professor Noshima, and waits for the destruction of his greatest enemy. In one moment, the terrible chain reaction of the kryptonite, described by Noshima, will begin. Has the Man of Steel finally come to the end of his great career on Earth? Fellows and girls, Monday's episode is amazing and thrilling, so don't miss it. Tune in, same time, same station, and follow the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman, brought to you every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC publications. Say, gang, here's some razzle-dazzle news to flash to Mom. Kellogg's Variety is back. So now everybody at the breakfast table can have the Kellogg's cereal he likes best. Because Kellogg's Variety is that grand variety carton holding 10 generous packages of 6 favorite Kellogg's cereals. Are they delicious? And does Kellogg's Variety make breakfast fun? It's better than a grab bag because you get what you really want. Today, ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety, the package that makes breakfast a picnic. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Kellogg's Pep!
The Super Delicious Cereal presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman. And today, the Man of Steel is alone and helpless in a deadly atomic cyclotron. We'll learn what happens in a moment, but right now, let's stand by for a word from our good friend Dan McCullough.
You know, most fellows and girls think that surprises are more fun than anything. That's why you members of the gang get such a kick out of it when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep. Of course, it's no surprise that this super delicious whole wheat flake cereal makes doggone good eating. But you never know exactly which comic button you're going to find inside the package. It might be a brand new one, maybe Periwinkle with his bright red bow tie, or Orphan Annie's dog Sandy, or even Superman himself looking mighty powerful in his brilliant red and blue jersey. And if it's a duplicate comic button, you know, like one you already have pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap, why, that's even more fun because then you can exchange with your pals. And are these buttons smart looking? Why, every single one of these 18 funny paper favorites looks so doggone real that, well, you'd know them right off the bat. But the best part is, these comic buttons are so easy to collect. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to make sure Mom gets you plenty of Kellogg's Pep, and you'll find your prize inside the package. So get your comic buttons, gang, from P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, the adventures of Superman.
Resolved to ensure his own safety by eliminating Superman, Mr. Jones, the sinister and mysterious leader of the Crescent and Star Gang, obtained possession of a piece of kryptonite, the rare and deadly element which, because of some curious chemical action, robbed Superman of all his great strength. By a clever ruse, Mr. Jones lured the Man of Steel into the presence of the kryptonite, and once dazed and helpless, he was taken to a laboratory on a mountain near Metropolis. Meanwhile, the truck in which Batman and Robin were trailing Mr. Jones broke down at the foot of the mountain. As we continue now, Superman's half-conscious body has been placed in a huge oven-like cyclotron, a machine used for smashing atoms. Seated at the cyclotron control board with Mr. Jones is Professor Noshima, a Japanese expert on atomics. He slowly turns a dial, and a low, eerie hum rises from the monstrous machine. Listen.
In a very few minutes, Mr. Jones, the nuclear fission of the kryptonite will begin. And that will be the end of Superman.
You're sure, Noshima?
I am positive. The piece of kryptonite you gave me is the most radioactive element in existence. When its atoms are bombarded, it releases 100-fold more neutrons than even U-235 or plutonium. Nothing on Earth can withstand its force.
That's what the Germans thought when they created their Atom Man. But it didn't work. Superman survived.
I have told you, they made one mistake.
You told me, but frankly, I didn't understand you. This is all Greek to me.
It is really quite simple. When the atom is smashed and the neutrons are permitted to escape, they must escape in what is called a fission or a chain, just as machine gun bullets escape from the muzzle of a gun one after the other.
Yes, I see.
The Germans, in creating their atomic man, did not provide for a continuous chain reaction. Therefore, the bombardment of Superman's body was not complete.
And in this machine it will be?
Yes.
What's that?
The heat is expanding the kryptonite and feeding it into position. In a moment or two, the atomic reaction will begin. You wish to observe it?
You mean I can actually watch Superman being destroyed?
Yes. Here, put these dark glasses on. They will protect your eyes from the blinding light which will soon develop.
All right.
Now, look directly at the glass panel on the control board. At intervals, a bell will ring, and you will see reflected on the panel exactly what is going on within the cyclotron. There, it begins.
Yes, I see him. He's on his hands and knees.
He is struggling against the atomic reaction.
What are those strange green flashes? Like miniature lightning.
Those are the beta rays of the kryptonite. Watch closely now. In less than a minute, you will see...
No, wait.
Who is that?
Jones. Jones!
It's the laugher. Don't bother us now, laugher. We're in the middle of a
Get
bit.
off that thing. I've got to talk to you.
Not now.
Turn it off, I said. There's trouble.
Trouble? Well, turn it off, Noshima.
Very well, Mr. Jones.
Now, what is it, laugher? Why didn't you close the door? You know how sensitive I am to drafts. Now I'll have to spray my throat.
Stop wasting time with that spray bottle and listen.
I'm listening. I don't want to catch pneumonia.
Maybe that'll be better than the electric chair.
Electric chair? What are you talking about?
You remember that truck you said was following you out here tonight?
I said I thought it was following us. I was mistaken. It turned off at the foot of the mountain.
That's what you think. It parked down there with its lights out.
It did?
Yes. Your boys, Tara and Marco, started down to look it over. I heard a rumpus in the dark and went down after them. I found them both in a ditch alongside the road, out cold.
What? Who did it?
I didn't wait for them to come to tell me. I hurried back here.
May have been police or FBI men in that truck.
Exactly what I was thinking, Jones, and so I'm getting out. I stopped by to tip you off and pick up my kryptonite. I'll take the back road down the mountains to the woods.
You're crazy. You can't leave now.
I'm not tangling with the police, Jones. They've got too much on me. Let me have that kryptonite.
We can't give it to you. It's in the cyclotron.
Well, get it out and hurry.
Don't be a fool, Lapper. We've got Superman in there. In a minute or two, we'll finish him.
Yeah, well, maybe I can and maybe I can't, and I'm not waiting. Now, will you get it out for me?
Don't move, Lapper.
Put down that gun, Jones.
No. You're not going to upset my plans, you stupid coward.
The police, you fool.
There's plenty of time to take care of Superman before they get here.
They might be hiding in the woods outside right now. It's pitch dark. They can sneak up there.
This laboratory is built of stone and steel. Walls are 3 feet thick. Noshima.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Close the outside door and bolt it. Hurry!
Listen to me, Jones.
Don't move, Laffer. You'll never move again. Close and bolt the door, Noshima.
But the Laffer might be right. If many police come, we should escape before they reach you.
Will you do as I say? Or shall I shoot you?
No. Do not shoot. I will do as you say.
Hurry!
You're crazy, Jones. I should have known better than to hook up with you. What if the walls are 3 feet thick? We can't stay here forever. We'll be trapped like rats.
No, we won't. At least I won't. I have a plan. I always have a plan.
Mr. Batman! I've got him, Robin. Let's go. No, you don't, Mr. Jones. It's Batman and Robin.
Those two again. I'll take care of them.
Take the floor, Robin.
They got the jack. And now we'll get you. What happened to the lights?
Batman turned them off.
Come on, Robin. Up and at 'em. Right beside you, Pappy. I can't see them.
There they are.
You okay, Robin? Never better. I see a big fat shadow ahead.
That's the Laffer. And he's for me. Oh, yeah? Come and get me.
Well, here I come. Get Jones, Robin.
Check.
How do you like that, Laffer? Here. Come on, Laffer. Let's see you laugh.
I'll murder you, Batman.
Yeah, try it, fat stuff. And try this on you, but...
Oh!
And this. That takes care of our laughing friend. Robin. Hey, Robin, where are you?
Looking for Jones. Where are you, Jonesy? I got something for you.
So have I. Speak up, Jones.
Stay away.
Oh, he's off to the right.
Stay away, I said. Or I'll turn the dial on the cyclotron, and Superman will be finished. He's inside.
Christopher Columbus.
He's bluffing.
Got my hand on the dial. If I hear you take one step toward me, and I warn you, I've got ears like a cat, I'll turn the dial, and Superman will die.
Who are you trying to kid?
I'll show you. Look at this glass plate on the control board. You can see him.
Jeepers, he's right, Batman. Superman is in the cyclotron.
Yes.
Now, listen to me. I want you both to walk back to the door. Turn on the lights when you get there so I can see you. Then walk out of the door. Get started and I'll turn the dial, and that'll be the end of Superman.
What'll we do, Batman?
I don't know, chum. It looks like he's got us.
Helpless, torn with indecision, Batman and Robin stand in the darkness while a few feet away at the huge control board, Mr. Jones holds his hand on one of the innumerable dials. What will happen? We'll return in a moment to find out, but first, here is your announcer.
I don't know why it is, but there always seems to be a lot of rivalry between the fellas and the girls in our neighborhood. Believe me, the fellas don't want to let the girls get ahead of them in anything. So there's a real race on nowadays in collecting those brilliant colored comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. I don't know who's ahead, but I do know that all the kids are mighty busy exchanging duplicates, for instance. Boy, that's really fun. Suppose you have 2 comic buttons with Smitty on them, but you don't have a Superman button. So you find out which one of your pals has an extra Superman and whether he needs a Smitty in his collection. You make the trade, and both of you are a little farther on your way to collecting all 18 buttons in the series. It's a kind of thrill, too, to pin your new button with the others on your jacket or your dress or cap so everybody can see how many you've collected. Better get busy on your collection, gang. Ask Mom to get you some more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these swell comic buttons. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't send in any money, not even a box stop. But there's an exciting prize for you in every package of P.E.P. Pep, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Having fought their way into a mountain laboratory where Superman is helpless in a huge atom-smashing cyclotron, Batman and Robin dispose of the laugher, only to be stopped by the cunning Mr. Jones. Standing in the dark laboratory, his hand on one of the many dials on the great control board, Mr. Jones threatens that unless Batman and Robin leave, he will twist the dial and destroy Superman. Batman and Robin discuss their predicament in low tones.
What do we do, Batman? Start walking to the door, I said. I'll count to 3. If you don't start by then, I'll turn the dial.
Okay. You win, Jones.
I always win. All right. Walk to the door. Turn on the lights there and then leave.
Okay. We can't trust him, Robin. He'll turn that dial as soon as we're out of the place.
Sure he will.
Then let's take him in fast. He's just off to the right.
Check. I'll start counting. 1.
Come on, Robin.
4. All right. I intended to finish Superman anyhow. Now, in a moment, Superman will be dead.
Oh, yeah? I've got him, Robin. Turn off the cyclotron.
Okay, take the one for me. Wait. You hear that? In a few seconds, the kryptonite atoms will bombard Superman and destroy.
Turn it off, Robin. Hurry.
I'm trying to, but there are 100 dials and levers and gadgets on this board. I don't know which is which.
Which is the right dial, Jones? Hurry and tell us the right.
No! You've got me, but Superman will die. In only a few seconds
Robin,
now.
for Pete's sake.
Nothing happens. Help me, Batman.
Okay. Come here, Jones.
I can show you how to turn it off, but I won't. Superman will die. He'll die.
Frantically, Batman and Robin twist dials and press levers on the huge control board, seeking in vain to stop the atomic chain reaction of the kryptonite, which is now beginning. And within the great cyclotron, Superman lies helpless as the green lightning flashes and forks toward him. Have Batman and Robin battled so gallantly against such great odds to save their famous friend, only to fail at the very end? Don't miss tomorrow's smashing climax of our story, fellows and girls. Amazing and exciting things happen. So be sure to tune in, same time, same station, and thrill to the adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Fellows and girls, be sure to follow the adventures of Superman. Brought to you every day, Monday through Friday. Same time, same station, by the grand old Kellogg Company of Battle Creek. And for other thrilling adventures of Superman, see your local newspaper. Superman is also a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Publications. Give a hip, hip hooray, gang. It's back. For you and me, now there's Kellogg's famous Variety. That's the swell variety carton with 10 separate generous packages of Kellogg's cereals, including Kellogg's Pep, Rice Krispies, shredded wheat, corn flakes, crumbles, and 40% bran flakes. Each box in Kellogg's Variety holds a fresh, crisp, heaping portion. Just help yourself to your favorite kind. Makes breakfast a picnic of fun. So ask Mom to get Kellogg's Variety right away. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape,
designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
It all started on the bus just outside of Dallas. The sailor who had snored beside me since Memphis got off, and the big fat guy got on. He overflowed into my half of the seat, and for sound effect, he ate one apple after another. I must have bought him by the sacks. Hey, fella, do you mind? My top coat?
Oh.
I'd like to have it pressed, but I prefer a tailor to do it.
No.
I pulled the coat out from under him. He'd smashed my carton of cigarettes almost flat. From then on, I held the coat in my lap. In my mind, he was symbolic of everything connected with this trip and with my life. Second-rate, middle class, mediocre. I was on my way to Hollywood. Yeah, I'm an actor. Under personal contract to Henry Slafta, a big director. Oh, it sounds impressive, but it isn't. It's one of those insignificant stock contracts with short options and shorter dough. I should have turned it down, but I was flat broke, on my heels. That's why, when I found the money, I did what I did.
Okay, folks, we're stopping here for 15 minutes.
Another stop, chance to stretch. Well, I had a cup of coffee and a spud nut in the depot, and I was starting back to the bus when I saw him, my apple-chewing friend. Two men with cop written all over them were leading him out of the bus. It was a pinch. I wondered why they'd picked him up. I really didn't care why they took him as long as he didn't come back. Now I had the seat to myself. But he'd done me a final courtesy. He'd knocked my top coat onto the floor and walked on it.
Okay, everybody on, let's go.
From then on into El Paso, he was the topic of conversation.
He didn't look like a criminal to me. My dear, didn't you hear what the bus driver said? The man's a counterfeiter, one of the smartest ones in the country. The police have been after him for ages.
Counterfeiter? How exciting. I must get off at El Paso and send a postcard back to man. Won't you be thrilled for me?
Counterfeiter. Well, that's the last thing I would have pegged him for.
El Paso.
El Paso. And Hollywood still 24 long hours away. Well, economy or no economy, I wasn't going to go on. I was dead tired, saddle sore from 3 days and nights on that bus. So I switched my ticket to the following day, and I hunted up a cheap hotel. The bellhop there was full of helpful ideas on how I could spend the evening.
Well, how about Juarez, mister?
Juarez, huh?
Yeah, old Mexico, just across the International Bridge.
Oh, yeah. I'd forgotten that this is a border town. No, thanks. I just want to get some sleep.
Sure, mister. It's up to you.
I tipped the kid and stretched out on the bed. I dug in my pocket for a cigarette, but I was out, so I reached into my topcoat for the carton. That's when I found it. A package of money. A lot of money. All in 50s and 100s. Nice, clean, fresh bills. I counted them fast. $15,000 worth. So that's why I found my coat on the floor of the bus. Fatso had stashed his homemade money in my pocket. Why, the lousy... I'd fix his wagon, planting it on me. Operator, give me the FB... No, never mind. Wait a minute. Why should I? If I turned it in, I might get involved, and I couldn't afford to. When I got to Hollywood, Hollywood. Boy, what an entrance I could make into that town if all this dough were only real. I could just picture the look on Henry Slafta's face if I flew into Hollywood with a new wardrobe, stopped at the Ambassador, took a suite, made a big splash. Yeah, if only the dough were real. Well, I couldn't sleep now. I was too stirred up, so I took a shower and changed my clothes and went out. I didn't have anything particular in mind, but since the hotel was near the International Bridge, I went over into Juarez. And I wasn't quite sure why I did it, but in my pocket was one of the $50 bills. I went up and down the cheap main drag, sampling tequila and brushing off vendors of Huaraches and leather dolls, just like the rest of the tourists. But all the time, that $50 bill was burning a hole in my pocket. It was in a small bar, a crummy place called El Serape, that I finally took a chance. I'd had a couple of tequila daisies, and each time I'd given the waiter a half a buck. This time I handed him the $50 bill. I held my breath. And suddenly, I knew I'd been a fool. He didn't put it in the cash register as he had the other money. Instead, he went down to the end of the bar and handed it to a man sitting there, obviously an American. He took it, looked at it, and then had the waiter point me out. I got up out of the booth and started for the street, but the American caught me at the door.
I'm Chuck Rice. I'm the manager.
Yeah. Hiya.
You give this $50 bill to the waiter?
Yeah. I guess I forgot to wait for my change, huh?
You don't want to go around to get money like this. Just visiting?
Yeah, tourist.
You know, you're taking a big chance. You're setting yourself up like a pigeon.
Well, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Don't get excited, amigo. This is border town. That's all. The wrong people might get the idea that you're carrying more bills like this.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Yeah, sure. But if you were, I could put you in touch with most anything. Maybe a little gambling. We could fix you up with little games. Anything you want to buy, I can get it for you.
No, I don't want to buy anything. But suppose I wanted to sell something.
Sell?
Mm-hmm.
That's a little tougher. I'd have to see a sample.
You got it, mister, right there in your hand. I was taking a crazy chance, but I'd kicked around Broadway long enough to know a contact man when I run into one, and Chuck Rice was definitely shady. He stood there scowling, turning the bill over and over in his hand.
Oh, so that's why you wanted to walk out on your change, huh? Thought I had it spotted. You got more like this?
Yeah.
On you?
No, I'm not that much of a pigeon.
How much more?
Enough.
You want to dump it?
Maybe, with the right kind of a deal.
Here's your 50 back. I don't know from nothing about this kind of commodity.
Well, I didn't pay for the drinks.
It's all right. It's in the house. Your money's no good here.
I took the 50 and put it in my pocket. I shrugged and hoped my indifference went over. I was almost to the street when he called after me.
Hey, amigo.
Huh?
I just wondering. How much you got?
Why?
Well, if you got enough, maybe Nieves would be interested.
Nieves? Who's Nieves?
Down here, we don't ask questions like that. You go to the cab stand on the corner. Ask for Miguel. Tell him you want to see Nieves. Tell him Chuck Rice sent you. Only this time, amigo, if you want to do business, you better have the dough on you.
Miguel. Hey, I'm talking to you. What's the idea? You keep going around in circles.
Can't sabe, senor.
Can't sabe my foot. I want to go to Nieves.
Si, senor, si, Nieves.
Well, let's get going. Never mind the sightseeing. Miguel was driving down dark back alleys and dirt roads. I couldn't tell which direction we were going, and I'm sure that was the idea. But we were getting further and further out of town. I was beginning to wish I didn't have the money on me. But I hadn't gone back to the hotel for it when Miguel suddenly pulled off the road into a rutty gopher-hole courtyard of a broken-down hacienda. It was littered with debris. I stumbled over a pig. His squeals woke a bunch of chickens roosting on a fence. And then I saw her. She was lying in a canvas hammock, one bare foot hanging over the side, deep in the enjoyment of an oversized cigarette. She seemed asleep except for the rhythmic puffs of smoke. She never opened her eyes all the time I was there. Nieves?
Si.
Chuck Rice sent me. He thought we might be able to work out a deal. I got some money. I want to sell it. Chuck Rice said that you might handle it. You hear me?
Si.
I got $15,000 American in 50s and 100s.
How much you want?
What'll you give me?
How much?
Well, I figure 5,000 would be fair.
No touch.
What?
If that's all you want, I no touch.
Why?
Too hot.
Well, if you think it's worth more...
No touch.
Okay, no touch. Come on, Miguel.
Si, senor. Senor.
Yeah.
O'Toole.
How's that?
O'Toole, maybe he buy.
O'Toole? Where's O'Toole?
Miguel, no. Si, senor. Come, I will take you.
Well, your English is improving, Miguel. Maybe your sense of direction will improve, too. And it did. As the crow flies, so did we, straight to O'Toole's Dine and Dance, a gaudy tourist trap hypoed on the outside with neon signs advertising the best food and music in Juarez, while inside 5 Latin beboppers were making hash out of Embraceable You. Miguel okayed me to a squint-eyed character who reluctantly led me down a hall, up a steep flight of stairs, and we stopped in front of a door.
Come in.
Behind a huge red lacquered desk sat a handsome Chinese in a dinner jacket smoking a long black cigar.
Good evening. What can I do for you? A drink, perhaps?
No thanks. I came to see O'Toole.
Yes? I am O'Toole.
You, O'Toole?
As one of those tricks of nature. I wear my mother's face and my father's name.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything.
Think nothing of it, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, Smith.
Now, you have something you wish to sell?
That's right.
May I see the money?
Money? How did you know?
$15,000, as I understand it. How much do you want for it?
6,000.
You told Nieves 5.
Nieves?
Oh, you're surprised. I know about that. Huh? Chuck Rice always sends them out to the country to see Nieves before they come to me. Now, let me see the money. All of it.
Sure. Here. Look, I'll take the 5.
I'll give you 4.
Oh, now, wait a minute. There's 15,000 there. You won't have any trouble passing it in Mexico.
I know that. I also know that when this kind of money turns up in this part of the world, it means only one thing. I am your last resort. Well, Mr. Smith?
Yeah. Give me the 4,000. He went to the safe, got the money, and paid me. I got out of his office. Well, maybe I should have held out for more, but he gave me the creeps. Besides, any way you look at it, 4,000's a lot of money. I could knock Henry Slap's eyes out with less than that. Downstairs in the club, the floor show was on, when a Adagio team was going through its calisthenics. I was just passing the bar when she bumped into me.
Hello, Charlie.
No, I'm not Charlie.
Sure you're Charlie. You gotta be Charlie.
Go on, beat it.
Come on. Don't be a sucker. We're being watched.
So what am I supposed to do?
Be smart. Buy me a drink.
Look, I told you, I'm not interested.
Interested in getting out of here alive?
What kind of a crack is that?
You see Squint Eyes over there by the entrance? Well, he's not the doorman.
Come on, look. What's this all about?
O'Toole. He wants back whatever it is he gave you.
I'll buy you that drink. Come on.
Make it scotch.
Yeah. Bartender, 2 scotch and sodas. All right. Now tell me why you're interested.
I'm supposed to knock you out.
You're what?
Those 2 drinks you just ordered. Yours will be loaded. And not with bromoquinine to cure your cold. Ever hear of knockout drops, tourist?
Yeah, sure, but I don't get it. What are you telling me for?
I don't know. Maybe because you're from my side of the border. Maybe because you don't look like the kind of scum that usually comes in this joint.
All right. So my drink's going to be loaded, and Squint Eyes is over to the front door to make sure I don't get away. I don't have much choice, do I?
Yeah, you do. I'm going to help you.
Help me?
After the drink hits you, I'm supposed to get you out the back door into the alley and then roll you.
Well, now, that'll be a big help.
But I'm not going to. Quiet. Here come the drinks.
All right, what do I do now?
When I reach around you for the ashtray, they won't be able to see you. Switch the drinks. You drink mine.
Yeah, but how about
you?
you?
They don't expect me to drink it.
Yeah, but you...
No, switch them. Get it down. Drink it. In a minute, pretend you're dizzy. I'll help you get to the alley. And when you get there, you better run, brother. And run fast.
Squint Eyes had left the door and was coming toward the bar, so I did what she told me. After I'd gulped the drink down, I sat on the stool a couple of minutes, and I pretended to get dizzy. She helped me off the stool, put my arm around her shoulder. We were almost to the door, almost to the alley. It was just perfect, except for one thing. I was dizzy. My stomach turned over and over, and I passed out cold.
In just a moment, we will continue with Escape. But first, a lot's been said about the Sunday night entertainment on CBS, and rightly so. But take a look down the CBS listings during the entire week, and you'll find there's no let-up in the parade of all-star shows. Tomorrow, Wednesday night, and every Wednesday night, Bing Crosby, Groucho Marx, Burns and Allen, and Gene Hirschholt as the beloved Dr. Christian are heard on most of these same CBS stations. Dick Haymes and the Andrews Sisters, Jack Smith and Dinah Shore are also on hand in their early evening quarter-hour programs. Make a habit of listening to CBS all through the week. And now we return you to the second act of Escape.
The smells were the same. Beer, tequila, stale black tobacco. But the sound had changed. There'd been music before. My stomach burned and my head throbbed, and somebody was lying across me. I raised up, tried to focus my eyes, but I couldn't. Gradually, I placed the sound. It was some kind of a car, bus. No, a truck. I was lying on the floor in the back of the truck, and there was a man lying across me. From the stench of him, he must have been drunk for a week, but from the inert way he lay, he could have been dead. I pushed him off and shook him. Hey. Where are we going? What is this? Hey, come on, wake up, will you? Listen to me. Then I suddenly remembered the money. The $4,000. It was gone. I was clean broke. I'd been rolled all right, and by a dame who even told me before she did it. Then I saw the rest of them. The truck was a big van, and it was loaded, packed with the dregs of border town, a sodden human cargo. All of them filthy, bleary-eyed. But one of them looked awake and reasonably sober. Hey, you over there. You speak English?
Si, senor.
Well, what happened? What are we doing here?
Oh, we all fall drunk, senor. Oh, it's no good to fall drunk. Oh, you go to Hensler's.
Hensler's?
Sí.
What are you talking about?
Oh, caray. No es bueno. Oh, I have been there before. I should know not to fall drunk. Oh, 1 whole month I have been there. Ese lugar es muy feo. Oh.
You've been where before? Where are they taking us? Tell me.
To Hensler's. Oh, he's a very bad man.
Hensler's? Well, who's Hensler?
Oh, you're going to see, senor. You will see.
That's all I could get out of him. We were going to Hensler's, and it wouldn't be good. And it sounded like I was about to find out.
All right, you guys. Come on. The party's over. Hey, Miller. Move these crips along there. Come on. You guys don't look like no bunch of daisies, but we'll make you bloom, won't we, Miller?
He was a brute of a man, and he carried a .45 in a holster. He and the driver, Miller, herded us out of the truck like so many cattle. It was some sort of a road gang. I saw a sign blocking the road that read, Under Construction, Hensler Construction Company. Well, I had no idea where we were, how far away from the border. The landscape was dry, dusty, barren.
Well, Gonzales, you with us again? Didn't we learn you not to get drunk, huh? Come on, you guys, step on it.
All right, quit shoving.
Come on, come. Hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Hello! How many times I got to tell you to be careful who you pick up?
Now, wait a minute, Jay. Don't get sore before I tell you.
Don't you know we can get in plenty of trouble picking up the wrong guys?
I didn't pick him up. O'Toole threw him in.
O'Toole?
Shut up, you. What O'Toole wish him on us for? Little Hensler here's about it.
Yeah, well, O'Toole has already talked with Hensler. He says this fellow will not give us any trouble. He is an embezzler. The police are looking for him.
You're crazy.
He came across the border to sell some money he had stolen from a bank or something. He must be plenty hot. He was willing to drop 15,000 real dough for 4,000 cash.
Real dough? What are you talking about? That was counterfeit I sold O'Toole.
Listen, buddy, I don't know what your racket is, but nobody fools O'Toole about money.
But it can't be real money. It was counterfeit, I tell you. It had to be. Look, I want to see Hensler.
You talk to me or you talk to nobody?
But I got to see Hensler. I got to get back to Juarez.
Huh? Did you hear that, Miller? He's got to get back to Juarez.
All right, look, you can't push me around. I'm an American.
Oh, he's an American. Well, send this to your congressman. Okay, American. Get on your feet. Get a pick and start working.
Hensler Construction Company. Just another name for a chain gang. I never saw Hensler. He wasn't there. But in the next week, I got to know Jake all right. I got to hate him. He drove us from dawn till dark, digging a road bed by hand, pick and shovel, in the hot sun, in the dust, without rest. But worse than the physical torture was the thought that gave me no rest. I'd sold O'Toole real money. For now I realized I'd never really had any proof that the fat man was a counterfeiter. I just jumped to that conclusion. The bus driver... No, not the bus driver. A woman on the bus said that the bus driver said it, and it drove me crazy just thinking about it. Real money. $15,000. I'd had it in my hand and I'd thrown it away. I had to escape. I had to. There'd been a man in the truck who said he'd been here before, so he must have gotten away somehow. He could help me. You're the man that was here before?
I am Gonzalez.
All right, you got away the other time, didn't you?
I see. But I am back. And this time I don't try to go.
Well, how did you go? How'd you get out?
Well, there is a highway.
There is? Where?
4 miles, 5 miles. Many cars pass there.
Just 4 or 5 miles. That's nothing.
Oh, maybe it sounds nothing to you, senor. But those are bad miles to go. Ooh, caray.
Only 4 or 5 miles. Over that way, he told me. Through the ravine. Well, I thought about it all that day, and I planned that I'd try it that night. But when we got back to camp, I was too dog-tired even to eat. I just flopped on the hard earth and fell asleep. It seemed that I'd just closed my eyes when I was shaken awake.
Hey.
Huh?
Hey. Get up, American. Get on your feet.
Huh?
I got a little job for you.
Oh, leave me alone, Jake. I'm tired.
Get up! You're on overtime.
He was murderously drunk. He had a bottle of whiskey in one hand and his .45 in the other. So I got up off the ground. All around me, the men were sleeping. If they heard him, they didn't pay any attention. He marched me down to the road bed and threw a pick at me.
There. Now start digging.
But it's the middle of the night. Look, I'm dead.
You gotta finish the road. Start digging, I said.
What are you picking on me for, Jake? Why me?
You're gonna start digging, or I start shooting.
So I dug. I dug till my hands were bleeding and my lungs were scalded with the effort of breathing. He sat alongside the road, knocking out that trip of whiskey and riding me every time I faltered. He was just mean drunk enough to kill me if I stopped. So I dug and I dug. Finally, I couldn't go on anymore. I was too tired to care. I dropped the pick and fell onto the road. My face was in the dirt. I lay there, panting, waiting for the bullet. When it didn't come, I turned my head, and what I saw gave me new life. Jake was sprawled out, dead drunk, and the .45 had slipped from his hand onto the ground. It was my chance. I hardly had enough strength left to move, but I knew if I didn't go then, it'd be too late. I'd never get away. I crawled over to him, and I got the gun, and somehow I got down the road and through that ravine, stumbled and crawled those hideous miles to the highway. And then I heard it, way down the road. It was a car. I ran out like a madman and flagged it down.
Monday, instead?
Give me a ride, will you?
Oh, you're an American, huh? Going back to the States?
Yeah.
Well, hop in.
I leaned back against the seat, shut my eyes, and slept all the way into Juarez.
Well, here you are. You said O'Toole's dine and dance. Sure I can't wait for you?
No, thanks just the same, but I got some business to take care of.
Okay. Good luck.
$15,000 worth of business, and Jake's .45 in my pocket to guarantee the deal. I went around to that back door and slipped in quietly, and then crept down the hall and up the stairs that Squint Eyes had led me before. This time I entered O'Toole's office without knocking. Hello, O'Toole.
Oh, I didn't expect you back so soon. Sit down. Can I get you something?
Yeah, you can. $15,000.
Afraid I don't understand. We made a deal.
Why didn't you tell me the money was real, not counterfeit, huh?
Well, you seem to know what you were doing, and remember, you placed the value on the money. I did not.
Yeah, well, I've just revalued it. I want it back, all of it.
We made a deal, and I paid you, and I'm through with you.
And you rolled me.
How you lost the money I paid you is no concern to me.
All right, then look, then maybe this will be some concern to you. I took enough punishment to get this gun not to hesitate to use it. Now get the money while you're still alive.
That won't be necessary. How about 10,000?
Look, don't stall. 15.
But I should be allowed to realize some profit.
Hurry up, O'Toole. I haven't got all day.
I'll have to open this safe.
Then open it.
Will you take it in 10s and 20s?
Now, look, I don't care how you give it to me, so long as it's American money. Now quit stalling and get it. I didn't trust him. I expected any minute he'd pull something fast, but he didn't. He gave it to me. I never realized before the power of a gun. It makes short men tall and tall men strong.
Here you are.
Thanks. Now I could fly to Hollywood and have that suite at the Ambassador and throw a cocktail party, a big party. I'd show 'em. First, I stopped at the best men's shop in Juarez and got myself outfitted. An important English tweed suit, cashmere topcoat, couple of dozen shirts. I threw away my old clothes.
There will be something else, senor.
I'll take that alligator suitcase, too.
Si, senor, but you must remember when you go through customs, you must declare the clothes you are wearing. I have to report this.
Oh, sure, don't worry. And these neckties?
Si, senor.
I paid him. It was more than I'd spent on clothes in 10 years. I put $500 in my wallet and stashed the rest of the money away in my suitcase. Then I went to the American Club for a good dinner. Now I was all set to make my entrance. All I needed was a plane reservation for Hollywood. I was just going through customs when he ran up.
That is the man. Stop him.
It was the clerk from the men's shop, gesturing wildly. The customs official listened, and then he came back to me.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'll have to detain you.
What?
Your wallet, if you please.
Oh, wait, I didn't buy the wallet from him.
If you please, sir, give it to me.
Okay, but it's just an American Hickok wallet, I tell you.
I'm not interested in the wallet itself, sir. Now we shall see.
There. You see? Did I not tell you? Look, all of it.
What are you guys doing with my money?
You admit this is your money, mister?
Of course it is.
Then I'm sorry, you'll have to come with me.
Why?
Because, mister, all the money in your wallet is counterfeit.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Border Town by John and Gwen Bagney. Featured in the cast were Jack Webb as Evan, Bill Conrad as Jake, Ben Wright as O'Toole, Tony Barrett as Rice, and Jeanette Nolan as Nieves. Also heard were Ted DeCosia, Paul Frees, B. Benaderet, Jerry Hausner, and Harry Bartell. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You were on a train from Rajahore to Calcutta. With you is a fabulous jewel, the most sought-after emerald in the world, in whose depths are mirrored terror and violence. And for you, there is no escape.
It's a proven surefire formula for better living. If we all work together to produce more per man, per machine, per hour, we all move together toward the benefits in living that are possible only under the American economic system. The better we produce, the better we live. For your free copy of the booklet, Miracle of America, write Box 10, Times Square Station, New York. Stay tuned now for Hit the Jackpot, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to a train headed for Calcutta and an exciting tale of the most sought-after emerald in the world, as Richard Sale tells it in his famous story, Figure a Dame.
You do it.
You figure a dame. Take this Mrs. Arthur Bankner, whose body I'm hired to guard. A widow woman who wanted a piece of green ice so bad she came halfway across the world to this Raj Johor, this whistle stop in the middle of India. And then to the winter palace of a character named Samurai Dal. Him in his English jodhpur, his jeweled silk turban, his eyes like hard pennies. Him I didn't like.
The star of Kilimanjaro. It has finally brought you to me. What, Mrs. Bankner?
Oh, yes, Samurai Dal. Is that how I call you, or is it Mr. Dal?
However you call me, madame, will be satisfactory when you pay me the $150,000 we agreed upon. American dollars.
Give him the money, Joe. I can't wait any longer. Oh, I think I've lived my life for this moment.
First we look at the emerald, huh, Mrs. B?
But Mr. Dahl wouldn't... Oh, Joe, it's not done that way. This is India. A different customs, different manners.
How true, Mrs. Bankner.
First we look at it. An old Brooklyn custom. Huh, Sam?
Of course.
Samurai Dal.
The emerald. The star of Kilimanjaro. Fetch it, girl.
At once, Samurai Dal.
Goes good with you, huh, Sam? Dancing girls with bells on their toes?
It's only adequate. I neglected to ask you this, Mrs. Bankner. Forgive me, but just who is this creature?
Joe? Oh, he's not a creature, Mr. Dahl. He's... well, for one thing, he's a detective for the Magnum Insurance Company.
That explains a great deal.
You see, Mr. Dahl, Joe, Mr. Harriman here, recovered some jewelry I lost in Paris. Oh, I was so impressed with him. I mean with how efficient he was. And
she means she persuaded Magnum to let me come along on this little buying trip for protection. Magnum thought it was a good idea, too. Now you know who the creature is. Now everything's gay, huh, Sam?
Samurai Dal.
Thank you. You may go back, girl, to whatever child's game you are playing. I could weep at having to part with this. Here, the star of Kilimanjaro.
Oh, Joe, look at it, look. Oh, all my life, many, many jewels, but, none like this.
Yeah. It's something. It'll do.
Oh.
You are satisfied, Joe?
Yeah.
And you, Mrs. Bankner, it satisfies you?
Oh, yes.
Then it remains only for me to be satisfied.
Give him the money, Joe. Give it to him.
Yeah, okay. Okay, here, Sam. You can count it if you want to.
I want to. Oh, exquisite money. Good. Oh, Mrs. Bankner.
Yes.
If by some grave misfortune you should lose the star of Kilimanjaro, or more exactly, it be stolen from you, then please to refer the thief to me. I shall be happy to buy it back from him at a good price.
Mrs. B wanted to celebrate, so we went to the town's one hot spot, a Rasa Tal. It was a dive. And the props hadn't changed from Flatbush. Smoke, Oriental cigarette type, bartender, Oriental type, dames, any type. Complete with Lend-Lease jazz band, the joint was a shore-leave paradise with one great big advantage. No local ordinances. You name it, you can have it.
I'll have another swizzle, Joe.
Finish the drink you've got, and we'll see.
Oh, Joe, you don't have to be so solicitous. I've got the star of Kilimanjaro. I've got it, Joe, and we're celebrating, remember? Come on now, dance with me. Joe. So what are you staring at? Joe.
Her.
Who, Joe?
That girl over there, the one against the bar.
She looks like an American, that one.
Yeah.
She's lovely. I only say that because she is. Now, you've looked at her, Joe. Now look back at me.
You know what? I've seen her before.
In Flatbush?
Here, in India. A couple of times before. I look up, and there she is, leaning against a bar, or watching the same rope trick, or being a part of the same crowd as me.
She's following you, Joe, to the ends of the earth. And I bet her resistance is getting lower from bar to bar.
Following me, yeah.
I heard you say something about dancing, lady.
Well, Algernon.
They're arresting you from the poop deck, sailor boy. Beat it.
Oh, Joe, at least buy him a drink.
Buy him nothing. Go on, sailor, make an exit while the house is still with you.
I was saying to you, lady, I heard you want to dance. This guy with you ain't made a move.
Now, what would you have done? Tell me.
Me, I'd dance.
Yeah, you would.
What has happened here?
The Jolly Tar, he happened. Get him out of here.
Oh, yes, I. Amit, to him. This man on the floor. Out.
You shouldn't have hit him, but... Joe, I liked watching you do it.
And I'm of the same mind. It was a beautiful thing.
Oh, you too, mister? You want to play too?
No, McCoy, no. I know an Irish Red Cross when I see one, so I brought you both drinks. My pleasure.
Why, thank you.
I am not Irish.
You may not know it, son, but you are. You know, someplace on your tree there's an Irishman. Do you mind if I sit down?
Who are you? What's the...
A man like you, son. I can tell it by the turn of your lips. A seeker, you might say. After what now? A woman's smile? Huh? And there's that here in India. Fortune? There's that here, too. Things, that's what.
Without the Irish poetry, who are you?
Rafferty. John Rafferty.
We're happy to know you, Mr. Rafferty, even for just this moment. We're leaving now.
Oh, really? But why? Let's stay, Joe.
Sleep. We'll need it. The train to Calcutta leaves early tomorrow.
And so it does. Then this is not goodbye after all. For I'll be on that train myself.
Sleep, I'd said. For the widow with the emerald, maybe, but not for me. I sat on the veranda of the Raj Johor Ritz just outside Mrs. B's room, and I could hear her making happy moans in her sleep. Once I heard a crawling noise. I got up, investigated, and found it was a noise made by something that crawls. Then came the dawn. I hustled Mrs. B and her bags into a Model T cab that took 2 hours to get to the railroad station a mile away. That I'd counted on, so we made the train for Calcutta on time.
Oh, Joe, just think, in a few days, Calcutta. Then the plane, then Paris, and then you leave me.
Yeah, that's how it was laid out, the itinerary. Go on in, I'll be there in a minute.
But aren't you coming with me?
No, Mrs. B, you go find your compartment. I'll bring the bags to you.
Oh, but... Oh, I see. The bar girl. That's who it is, isn't it, Joe? Coming this way.
That's who it is, Mrs. B. You won't want to be here when I talk to her, huh, Mrs. B?
No, but don't talk long, Joe. It's me that's paying you, remember?
So Mrs. B was on her way to her compartment. The star of Kilimanjaro and a little pouch with gold strings around her neck and inside her dress. This was the last lap. If anyone was going to lift the rocket, it had to be done before we got to Calcutta. And then the girl's perfume was inside me.
We've met before, haven't we? Where or when, I don't know, but we've met.
As good a way as any to get to know me. I'm Joe Harriman.
Marion Ryder. Seems we're always in the same places. On the train all the way from Bombay, at the cafe last night, here. Coincidental, isn't it?
Is it? I wouldn't know.
Well, of course it is. Wait, do you mean you've been following me?
A dream like you that makes you hungry inside? It wouldn't be hard.
Like that?
Like that. Traveling for your health, Marion?
No, business.
In this slop hole, something like you, business?
Well, I'm a kind of buying agent for a New York firm. Trinkets. That's it, trinkets.
Emerald trinkets?
Emerald would be lovely. I must find my compartment, Mr. Harriman. Maybe I'll see you again later.
Count on it, Marion. It's a promise I make to myself.
On aboard! On aboard!
I didn't see her again until later. I sat in my own compartment next to Mrs. B's and did a lot of thinking. Important thinking, and I didn't want it mixed up with her perfume. Maybe she was an out-and-out jewel thief, and that bothered me. She was a cinch to get caught if she tried to lift that stone. And you can't make that good time with a girl who's behind bars. I did my thinking like that for a long time. Had a couple of meals in between and read. and did some more thinking. When I got finished with it, I was looking out of a window and seeing it was a night without moon. A night for company. I walked down to the club car and found what I was looking for. Hello. Hello, Miss... Oh, don't be frightened. It's me. That, kind of night out there get you down?
No. I was just toying with my memory. Sit down, Joe.
Oh, thank you. Toy with your memory some more. It wears wonderful on you. And then tell me about it.
All right. Now shall I tell you about it?
Uh-huh.
Out there, Joe, the night, the black hills, the strange little lights that flicker and swirl past you. It's like... Well, like I wasn't on this train at all, but out there and part of it. Like something I've known and remembered for a long, long time.
Is that all?
That, Joe.
This?
Joe.
Don't say we shouldn't have done it, because we should have.
I know, but what must you think of me? What?
I'll tell you. Because I level with women who level with me. I think you're interested in me.
And?
And trinkets. Expensive trinkets. Like the star of Kilimanjaro.
I don't understand you.
Mr. Harriman. Please, come, hurry. Mrs. Bankner.
What's the matter with her?
She is very upset. I think something is wrong. She says you come right away. She is crying.
Excuse me, Marion. I gotta go to work. Come on, you.
Yes.
Mrs. B. Mrs. B, something wrong?
Oh, Joe. Oh, Joe, I had a nightmare and I woke up. I was so frightened.
No. All right, conductor, thank you. You can go now.
Yes, sir.
I called for you when I woke up, but you weren't there. Oh, Joe. Sit here and put your arms around me. Oh, Joe, hold me tight.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better like this. You close to me like this.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at me, Joe. What do you see?
You're so helpless I could kiss you.
Try me, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, you're hurting me. Joe, what? Joe!
Her throat was soft against my hands. Her arms waved around for a little while. The look in her eyes was something I'd never seen before. She didn't struggle much. She didn't do anything much. Except not believe it was happening to her. That she was being murdered. Then she quit believing anything. She was dead.
In just a moment, we will continue with Escape. But first, every Wednesday night, Groucho Marx, Bing Crosby, and Burns and Allen in 1, 2, 3 order on most of these same CBS stations. Hear them all tomorrow night on CBS. And now we return you to the second act of Escape.
There wasn't much trouble falling asleep after that. After I was sure Mrs. B was dead, and after I'd stashed the emerald where it couldn't be found. Wasn't much trouble falling asleep at all. Like being out with a beautiful dame, and she liked you. And you went home and put your arms behind your head and smiled to yourself. And you slept the best kind of sleep of all. It got to be 8 o'clock in the morning, and that was all right, too. Because there I was having breakfast in the diner with another promise I'd made to myself. Her name was Marion Ryder. And she poured my coffee for me.
I've been thinking, Joe.
Uh-huh.
I've been thinking it was wrong what we did last night.
I'll tell you why it wasn't, Marion. You want to hear?
Just don't lie to me.
I'm crazy about you. See, I don't even have to look down into my coffee cup when I say it, like you're doing.
I'm sorry. Just that...
Wait a minute, honey. Conductor. Hey, come here a minute, you.
Yes? What is it you wish, sir?
I wish this. I wish that you would go down to Mrs. Bankner's compartment and wake her up. Tell her this mush you waiters serve for breakfast is lousy, but tell her she's got to get some food in her.
Yes, sir.
Well, don't just stand there. I wish it, so do it.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Joe.
What are we saying, honey?
Don't call me honey.
Why not?
It's a word I don't care for. Just don't do it.
Yeah. No class, huh? Sure, wait till we get to Calcutta. I'll find the words that'll fit.
Joe. Leave me alone now.
But...
Calcutta is only a few hours away, Joe.
Sure. I know about dames, Marion. They need thinking time to make everything right with themselves. Sure. I'll see you later.
Morning, my boy. Morning to you. Morning.
Oh, hello, Mr. Rafferty.
Have you had your breakfast yet?
Yes, don't remind me of it.
Oh, you come along and have a coffee with me, then.
Thank you, but, no.
Oh, by the way, my boy, Mrs. Bankner.
What about her?
Well, nothing about her, but I'm in the next compartment to hers, and I heard the conductor knocking on the compartment door just now, and she doesn't seem to answer.
Oh, she sleeps heavy.
Oh, well, she's lucky. Well, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bankner? Breakfast, Mrs. Bankner.
What's the matter, conductor?
She doesn't answer. I've been knocking.
Oh, yes, sometimes she does that. Have you got a key to the door?
Yes, but...
Open it.
Very well.
Holy.
Something is...
Yes, something is all right. Come on in. Close that door. Look at her, will you?
Something is...
You said that. She's dead. I'll tell you something else. The lady's been murdered.
You said...
I said murdered. Look at the marks on her throat. Strangled.
Sir, her hand. Please, she is holding something in her hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is at that. A button.
Perhaps the man who did this thing to her. His button.
That's a real good, perhaps. Come on. Not a word about Mrs. Bankner to anybody, you understand?
Yes, but...
I'm a detective. I know about these things. Not a word. Come on. When do we get to Calcutta?
In 3 hours, noon. First stops are for water. A 5-minute stop at a village, Mipirai. Then Calcutta.
As soon as we get there, telegraph to Calcutta to the police. Tell them what's happened. And that's all. You understand?
Yes.
Well, now we go in here. In here.
But this is Mr. Rafferty's compartment.
Yes, the guy who did it. Close the door. I think he got what he was after from Mrs. Bankner. Maybe we'll find it.
There will be trouble. You are searching his things.
I told you I'm a detective. I know how to operate. Now, let's try this closet. Let me see. Nothing here.
But the button...
I'll give it to you. I'll turn it over to the British police when we get to Calcutta. Here, take it.
Yes. But the button in Mrs. Bankner's hand was brown.
Gray. Can't you see the button is gray? Take it. We stood there staring at each other for maybe a minute, and then his eyes eased off mine. He made a kind of sloppy salute. He turned, went down the train corridor to wherever it is conductors hold their heads in their hands. It had been awful close, awful tight. Tearing a gray button off Rafferty's coat while I searched it and palming the button off on the conductor, that was a little task that took delicacy and timing. So I'm delicate with my fingers, and my sense of timing is perfect, and I'm sure of myself. And that adds up to a win. When we hit the water stop, I got off to stretch my legs, to let myself breathe the fresh air so it would cool me off inside. The little guy running like a monkey on top of the water tank looked neat and clean in his white diaper and green turban. The hills covered with snow looked good, far away, but good. And then an Irish mosquito buzzed in my ear.
It's a lovely panorama, those hills. Lovely. It's like music. Flutes and bells and a flight of birds.
Yeah, they're like that. I don't know the words to the music, but they're like that.
It's a pity Mrs. Bankner isn't here to enjoy them with you.
What about Mrs. Bankner?
What about Mrs. Bankner? Well, why, she's dead. Murdered. Surely you knew that, my boy.
How did you find out about it?
Oh, you know how it is on a train. Things get themselves whispered about.
How did you find out?
Now, easy, boy, easy. You're a fiery one, are you not? It's only that I saw the conductor looking sad, and me being a kind of friendly human being, and smart enough to know conductors know things, I asked him why he was sad. Asked him in a way that made it easy for him to answer.
Quicker, Rafferty. Get to it quicker.
Well, he told me that you told him not to say a word about the murder. And I said, whose murder? And then he says, Mrs. Bankner's, and I said, oh. And he said he'd be disgraced because it happened on his train.
What else, Rafferty?
And the matter of the button was deeply puzzling to him.
Button?
Yes, the button. Now, isn't that a queer thing to be puzzling to him? Him with a murder on his hands.
The train got going after that. Me too, my brain, that is. Things going around in my brain. Everything got mixed up with that crummy little button and that crummy little conductor. Imagine a guy so scared he had to shoot his mouth off like that and shoot it off to Rafferty, of all people. Conductor needed a little talking to, a finger waved under his nose. The way it happened, I was standing on the observation platform by myself, and he came right up to me.
Mr. Harriman? I beg your pardon, Mr. Harriman.
Yeah?
I beg your pardon, Mr. Harriman, but lunch is being served in the diner. An early lunch. We shall be in Calcutta in an hour.
Come here, you.
I beg your pardon.
I said come here.
You wish it?
Uh-huh. You know something? You look worried.
Because I am.
Why?
This whole affair. The murder and the...
Button?
That, sir. And the other thing. You say Mr. Rafferty is the murderer.
I told you not to talk to him.
I told him hardly anything. I didn't tell him he was suspect.
Oh, it's good you didn't. Real good for you, you didn't. Just let Rafferty coast, you understand? Then when we get to Calcutta, the police will arrest him because you've got the evidence. The button.
I've got it. Only...
Only what?
Only I thought it was brown.
You did, huh?
It was brown.
You're sure of it?
It was brown. When it was in Mrs. Bankner's hand, it was brown. When you gave it to me in Mr. Rafferty's compartment, it was gray. See, I have it here. It is gray.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Sir?
Give it to me. Thank you. Now, you know what?
It was brown.
Yeah, it was. But I'm saying something. I'm saying, you know what?
Sir?
I'm saying you've got to go. You really got to go.
Sir, what are you doing?
Right now, you got to go.
It was gray. No, no, no!
Now everything was right. Everything in place. The button I had proved Rafferty the murderer of Mrs. B. The conductor, everybody would say the poor guy had a bad accident. Now all it needed was the payoff to a dream. And that would be something named Marion Ryder.
Who is this?
It's Joe. I'm bringing you pretty flowers. Let me in.
I don't see any flowers.
You will. Shut the door, Marion.
All right.
Keeps twisting around inside me. I love you.
You can't say things like that.
Stop me, Marion.
Like this, Joe. Like that.
One of those things. I meet you, bang. Electricity, just like that.
Joe.
I love you. I'd do anything for you. I never said that to a woman
Joe,
before.
wait. I've got to tell you something first.
What's to tell me? That you're a crook? That you followed me and Mrs. B so you could lay your hands on the star of Kilimanjaro?
No, Joe, wait.
You're too late, kid. Mrs. B is dead, murdered. The emerald's gone. Something wrong, kid.
Oh, so much. So much.
Oh, nothing is wrong. Rafferty, the Irish poet, is going to take the rap for it. He was after the emerald, too, but he's not getting it. Just the gallows. That's all Rafferty
Joe,
gets.
listen to me. Stop talking and listen.
No, kid, you listen to me. I get $50,000 for it. We'll take it back to Samurai Doll and sell it to him again. $50,000, you and me. We can die from so much joy. I killed her for you.
You killed Mrs. Bankner? You murdered her?
Sure. Kid, it wasn't hard. You mean that much to me, so it wasn't hard. It was almost a pleasure. A down payment on our happiness, you might call it.
Oh, you spoiled everything. Oh, Joe, you poor fool.
Marion, is that right, Joe? You're such a fool.
Get out of here, Rafferty.
No tricks, lad. This gun I hold makes holes in people. You're people, aren't you, Joe? Or are you?
What do you want here? Tell me before I go for my gun. I do foolish things like that.
I don't doubt it. But first I'll tell you, lad. I know how you planted a murder on me with a button from my coat. I know where the star of Kilimanjaro is.
So you're nothing but a filthy, stinking jewel thief, just like I figured.
Not quite, Joe. Marion, tell him how I know these things. Tell him who I am.
He's the chief of the Magnum Insurance Company agents in Bombay.
Rafferty, you're crazy.
No. Magnum cabled him to follow you and Mrs. Bankner to make sure the emerald got back safely. Magnum didn't trust you with a stone like that. They put another man on to make sure you wouldn't steal it. And you had to kill her.
They can't prove it. I'll pin it on Rafferty, so help me.
But you killed her. You just admitted it.
Only to you. Your word isn't worth dust. You're a crook yourself.
No. Not quite. Marion?
All right, I'll tell him. Joe, I happen to be Rafferty's wife.
She said it. It only took her a couple of seconds, but that's what she said. But it took a long time for the words and the sound to get to me. And you know something? Looking at her then, and watching her mouth move, she looked real sad. And suddenly real lonely. You do it. You figure it, dame.
Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Tonight we have presented Figure a Dame by Richard Sale, adapted for radio by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Featured in the cast were Frank Lovejoy as Joe, Joan Banks as Marion, Sarah Selby as Mrs. Bankner, and Van Wright as Rafferty. Also heard were Paul Frees, Harry Bartell, and Gary Merrill. Special music was arranged and conducted by Del Castillo. Next week.
You were on a small ship off the coast of Borneo. In the waters beneath you lies a fortune in pearls, and at your side stands a man from whose murderous greed there is no escape.
Next week, we escape with Floyd A. Nelson's exciting tale of reckless men and their lust for treasure, Seeds of Greed. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. It's Christmas time. Lots of mistletoe, lots of packages, lots of carols being sung. And never a man to overlook a chance to celebrate, George Burns gets into the act with a special program of what he claims are Christmas carols. George's sponsor had certain ideas about George's voice a few weeks ago and fired him from the show. And tomorrow night, you'll learn how George's fellow singers and Christmas shoppers in general react. For one of the merriest of holiday shows, don't miss George's and Gracie's program on most of these same CBS stations this Wednesday night. Now stay tuned for Hit the Jackpot, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Nestle's Ever Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk. And Nestle's chocolate bars. Now present Space Patrol. High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol. In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are aboard the Terra 5 approaching the planet Venus.
We're on vector for the Venus City atmosphere shell, sir.
Fine, Hap. Cut our velocity.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's strange. The controls won't respond.
There's a warning from Space Control. Decelerate quick.
I can't, sir. Nothing happens.
Well, try changing vector.
The controls are frozen.
Someone sabotaged the ship.
What? Smoking rockets, if we don't do something quick, the ship will crash right into the heart of Venus City.
We'll return in just a moment with the thrilling Space Patrol story, The Shadow of Chardu.
What's new?
Nestle's new.
Nestle's what?
Coconut.
Nestle's new coconut bar. That's for me. You have to eat one to believe that there could be such a wonderful flavor combination. Just imagine. Thick, rich, smooth milk chocolate, crammed to the edges with fresh, toasted coconut. And it's such fun to eat, too, because it gets crisper with every bite. Care to add anything to that, Hap? Hap. Cadet Happy, will you please answer?
Oh, golly, Commander, I'm sorry. You know what happens to me when you start talking about Nestle's new coconut bar? I just close my eyes and leave this planet. Yes, sir. I imagine I'm eating one right then and there. I can just taste that sensational, creamy, rich chocolate and all that super coconut. Oh, it's so crisp, so delicious, so... There I go again. That's the way it is, Commander. And there's only one cure for it.
Oh, what might that be?
Why, I gotta eat a Nestle's coconut bar, of course.
Well, now, that seems like a good idea. For you, for me, for all space patrollers, too. Gang, why don't you find out for yourself? Treat yourself to a brand new coconut bar. You'll really go for it.
Everybody goes for Nestle's, Commander. Wonderful milk chocolate, almond chocolate, and crunchy crunch bars. And naturally, the new coconut bar in the red and cream-colored wrapper. Smoking rockets, Nestle certainly makes the very best chocolate.
And now, our Space Patrol adventure, The Shadow of Chardu. Commander Corey has discovered that agents from the planet Dargida near the star Antares are secretly at work in the solar system searching for a jeweled crown. Of the two known agents from Dargida, one has been captured. The other, Orkan, escaped from Earth. Buzz fears Orkan will try to locate the one man in the United Planets who may know the whereabouts of the crown, the archaeologist Howard Sterndorf. So far, the commander has been unable to contact the scientist to warn him of the danger he faces at the hands of the ruthless intruders from Dargida. Right now, Buzz and Happy are in the commander's office at Terra headquarters.
Well, there's one thing in our favor. If we can't find Sterndorf, then neither can Orkan.
You forget, Hap, that we don't know how big an organization Dargida may have in our solar system. The would-be emperor, Chardu, may have agents everywhere.
We sure didn't find out much from the one we captured, this Torzak, not even with a brain again.
These men from Dargida have tremendous control over the mind. This mental power, psych forces they call it, enables them to perform incredible feats of strength.
Yeah, we sure found that out the hard way. What I can't understand, sir, is why a super smart race of people would put so much value in a crown. Why couldn't Chardu be emperor without it?
I don't know enough about Dargida to answer that.
I don't see how we're going to protect Sterndorf, even if we do find him before Orkan does. Unless we keep Sterndorf a prisoner for his own protection.
There's just one way to protect Sterndorf from the agents of Dargida. That's to make him useless to Chardu and his spies.
And how can we do that? If Sterndorf knows where the crown is, he can...
Excuse me. Commander Corey here. Yes, Captain. Fine. Lowell City? Good. He doesn't know why I want to see him. Well, don't tell him. Just keep him there. It won't be long. I'll blast off immediately. Corey out. Hap, Howard Sterndorf is on Mars. Captain Walden in our Lowell City headquarters got a bright hunch and checked with the curator of the Lowell City Museum.
That's a break. Now we can get to him before Orkan does.
Let's get to the spaceport.
Meantime, in the spaceship traveling between Earth and the planet Venus, Orkan, agent from the planet Dargida, contacts his leader, Chardu, near the star Antares, 170 light years from the solar system.
I should reach Venus in about 2 hours, Chardu.
And that is where the crown is?
I cannot be sure. I do know that the scientist who found the crown in the Zanapi ruins lives in Venus City. It shouldn't be difficult to locate him. Once I find Howard Sterndorf, I will force him to tell me where to find the crown of Dargida.
I am somewhat concerned, Orkan. Have you contacted Agent Torzak recently?
No, Chardu. I saw no necessity for it.
I have tried repeatedly to reach him. He does not answer. His last report is long overdue.
When did you last hear from Torzak?
Shortly after you left the desert region. He told me he had this Commander Corey and the cadet Happy under control.
That is true, Chardu. When I left, Corey and the cadet were still dazed from the weakening effect of my psych force.
Suppose they succeeded in overpowering Torzak.
That's impossible.
Then why hasn't Torzak reported? Until I learn differently, I must operate on the theory that they did escape. We must change our plans immediately.
But Chardu...
We must run no unnecessary risks.
Corey has escaped from Goldbergs, and he will attempt to warn the scientist, Miss Turndorf. He will also alert the Venus authorities to watch for you.
Should I return to Torzak's place in the Earth's desert?
No. Contact Goldbergs, one of our agents on Terra. He can determine whether Corey is back in action.
And if he is?
Corey is the greatest obstacle to the recovery of the crown of Daijida. He must be destroyed.
In a hotel room in Laurel City on the planet Mars, Buzz and Happy confer with the elusive scientist Howard Sterndorf.
Let me ask you a question. Didn't you explore the Zanapi ruins on Earth?
Yes, last year. But it wasn't a very complete exploration. I was called back to Venus to take over some classes at the university.
Did you find a jeweled crown in the ruins?
Why, yes, I did. Very strange, too. It just didn't belong among those Indian artifacts.
You're right, it didn't.
We know where that crown came from.
You do?
Where? From a planet near the star Antares. It was stolen 1,000 years ago, brought to Earth, and hidden in those ruins.
That's why you're in danger.
Just a minute. If this is one of those tiresome legends about an ancient curse, you can forget it.
This is serious, Professor. Where is that crown?
Back at the Venus City University.
Locked in a vault, I suppose.
My goodness, no. It's on the shelf in my office.
In plain sight?
Of course.
The restoration of an empire hinges on that crown. Agents from Daijida are in the solar system right now, and they'll do anything to get it back.
Well, why not give it to them?
If it's there, we can't be sure it's all they want. We'll never know who their agents are unless they reveal themselves by making attempts to get that crown.
All right. Interstellar politics is out of my line. I'll give you the crown, and you can lock it up.
That won't work with these spies.
No, Professor. No secret is safe from them. They've got something they call a psych force.
They can produce a mental energy that can overpower our own self-control. I know. One of them made me tell them your name.
And they can concentrate that power in physical energy. When they want to, they're as strong as 10 men.
But here's our problem. Either you or I must know where the crown is. Yet we must be able to produce it on short notice in case we have to.
Well, that's quite a dilemma. How would it work if I gave it to a friend and asked him to hide it?
Oh, a Daijida agent could easily make you tell the name of your friend.
Then your friend would be on the spot.
What we need is a way of not letting our left hand know what our right hand is doing.
Exactly. Here's my suggestion. Each of us will make a list of 20 men we can trust. That's 40. Then envelopes will be prepared and addressed to each of these 40 men. There will be no return address on any envelope. 39 of them will contain blank pieces of paper, or perhaps a circular, anything, it doesn't matter.
And the 40th envelope?
That will contain a letter over my signature, asking that person to go immediately to your office, get the crown, and hide it, without telling anyone. The person receiving the instructions will be asked to send a letter to the secret documents section at Space Patrol headquarters in Terra.
Gee.
Now, on the outside of the envelope will be a file number. Inside will be the man's name, nothing else. That envelope will be filed without being opened.
Then, can I go to Venus?
Not until I get word from the secret documents section that a letter with a certain file number has arrived from Venus City. That'll be proof that our plan worked and the crown is safely hidden.
Nearly 2 days later, in a hotel on Terra, Professor Sterndorf impatiently awaits word from Commander Corey that he can return to his work at the Venus City University. As the hours drag on, he nervously paces the floor, muttering to himself.
Commander Corey overestimates these Daijida people. Wasting all this time when I could be... that's the commander. And high time, too. Well, I was wondering... Oh, hello.
Professor Sterndorf?
Yes. What can I do for you?
I'd like to come in, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm rather busy.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, just a minute, young man.
It shouldn't take very long. You're certainly a hard man to find. I heard you were in Lowell City, but by the time I got there, you'd left for Terra. However, what's the matter, Professor?
I don't know. Suddenly, I felt a trifle dizzy.
Think nothing of it. I usually have that effect on people.
Who are you? What do you want?
It doesn't matter who I am. You took a jeweled crown from the Zanapi ruins on the planet Earth. Where is it?
You're a Daijida agent.
Where is the crown?
I don't know.
Don't lie to me. Eventually, you're going to have to tell the truth. You'll save yourself much mental torture if you stop fighting your impulse to answer. Where is it?
I am telling you the truth. I don't know where the crown is.
Does Corey have it?
No.
Who did you give it to?
I don't know.
Then you did give it to someone, didn't you?
I don't know.
You must be telling the truth, but your answers don't make any sense. Corey sent someone to get it.
Yeah.
Getting someone. Who did he send?
I don't know.
Are you expecting someone?
Yes. Commander Corey. That's probably who that is.
What's he coming here for?
Well, most likely to take me to Venus.
To get the crown?
No. Neither of us knows where the crown is.
I'm stepping into the next room. Answer the door, but get rid of Corey. Tell him you don't need an escort to Venus. Do as I say. Wait till I go outside.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Hi, Professor Sterndorf.
Good afternoon.
Everything's worked out fine, Professor. We'll take you to Venus as soon as you're ready.
I'm not ready to return yet. I have found a few matters of interest here on Terra. When I attend to them, I can return to Venus by myself. I do not need an official escort. Good day, gentlemen.
Professor.
Happy the Professor knows his own mind. Very well, Professor. Thanks for your cooperation. Come on.
Yes, sir. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
Yes, sir. What's come over, Professor? Didn't his attitude seem kind of strange to you?
Yes, he seemed to be acting under pressure. There's someone in there with him that will pick him by surprise.
Judah agents.
Probably. I'll pick them off guard before they have a chance to generate super strength for the psych force.
Then you're going back?
Yes,
sir.
Professor, where is he?
Right here, Corey. Come on, it's our turn. You shouldn't have done that.
It's their fault I had to knock them out. They stormed in here ready for trouble. It would have been difficult to overpower them with mind energy. All right, Professor. Bring me a sheet from the bed.
What are you going to do?
Tie them up. I'll have Boder come here and revive them. You're coming with me to Venus.
By the commander and Cadet Happy. Who is Boder?
Another Darjeta agent. And if they don't tell us where the crown is, Boder will show them that the psych force can be more torture than a severe beating.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, how's your morning tempo? Do you go around like this? Or are you the kind who speeds through school and chores like this? Well, I bet you the difference is breakfast. Yes, sirree, a good big breakfast topped off by a good big cup of Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa can make all the difference in the universe. Breakfast eaters are never slow starters nor mid-morning slumpers either, because they get the pep and go they need to last clear through. And let me tell you, when you have Nestle's Cocoa with your breakfast, you're treating yourself fine. The flavor's so rich and chocolatey and delicious, just like those sensational Nestle's chocolate bars. Another thing, Nestle's is the only instant cocoa that contains rich whole milk and sugar. That's where the pep comes from. And, of course, Nestle's is so easy to fix, you can do it yourself in no time. Just put 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in your cup and add hot water. Easy? Why, you never saw anything simpler. Good? Well, you just take a big swallow, and you'll say it's the greatest. And, boy, wait and see how you speed through the morning just like this. Remember, ask Mom for Nestle's Ever-Ready in the bright red box. It's chocolate rich and wonderful. It's Nestle's. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, The Shadow of Chardu. Commander Corey knows that agents from Darjeta with their specially trained brains can generate a psych force strong enough to make any ordinary person reveal any fact that he knows. Was therefore worked out a plan so the crown of Darjeta can be hidden by an unknown third party. Thus, neither Buzz nor Professor Sterndorf have any direct knowledge of where the crown is or who has it. But Agent Orcon captured the professor and knocked Buzz and Happy unconscious. The two space patrolmen come to their senses in the professor's hotel room on Terra to find themselves securely bound by strips of sheet torn from the bed.
I think I'm getting it, Hap. The strands of sheet around my wrists are beginning to give. I'm not making any headway with mine. Orcon used too much of his super strength in tying me. He pulled a knot so hard he weakened the fabric. Commander, someone's at the door. Step out of sight and keep a vigilant conversation.
Wow. I was beginning to think nobody was ever going to come. Get me loose, will you?
Take it easy. Where's the commander? Orkan said he had both of you tied together.
Right here. Oh, that was a beauty, Commander.
I had to get him quick before he got his psych force into gear.
You sure did. But he's completely out. He can't tell us where Orkan is.
That's why I release you. We'll get him to headquarters. If we can get him under a brainograph before he completely recovers, we might find out plenty.
Far from the regular space lanes, a private cruiser follows a vector toward the planet Venus. Orcon checks the viewscopes carefully, then makes spaceophone contact with Chardu on the remote planet Dargida.
I have captured Professor Sterndorf, Chardu. He is locked in the compartment of the ship.
What about Corey?
By now, Voder probably has Corey and the cadet well under control.
Why didn't you take Corey with you when you had the chance?
I was compelled to use physical force, Chardu. It would have taken too much time to wait for them to regain consciousness, so that I could control their actions by psych force, as I did the professor.
I see. What about the crown?
Sterndorf seems to have no knowledge of where it is.
But you told me...
Please, Chardu, please. There is nothing to worry about. Corey and Sterndorf together must have knowledge of the crown. I can work on Sterndorf while Voder handles Corey.
And with Sterndorf under your control, you can force Corey to be more cooperative.
Exactly. You will have to give me the crown to save the professor's life.
Where are you going now?
To Venus. In all probability, the crown is somewhere on that planet. I can operate from Venus City location number 3.
You must find the crown without delay or cut. Proceed to Venus.
Several million VUs away, the Terra 5 also follows a vector toward the planet Venus.
We got more information on the voter than I expected, Commander.
Well, at least we know where Orcon is taking Professor Sterndorf.
Well, Orcon must realize by now that Sterndorf hasn't the slightest idea where the crown is, or who has it.
Yes, the professor's in a tough spot. Orcon will probably keep him as a hostage to force us to hand over the crown.
Yeah, but we don't know where it is either, unless we trace that letter through the secret document section and find out the name inside.
They have to do that to save Sterndorf from torture.
With Professor Sterndorf completely dominated by the psych force, Orcon brings his spaceship through the space lock of the Venus City atmosphere shell. Then, by an indirect route in a surface car, he brings his captive to a thick-walled building in the manufacturing section of the city.
Now, Sterndorf, as you can see, we aren't likely to be disturbed here. The wisest thing you can do is to tell me how to find the crown of Dargida.
I've told you before. I don't know.
I've been very gentle with you up to now, Professor. You have a fine mind by solar system standards. It would be a pity to damage it permanently. So stop resisting me.
I tell you, I'm not...
Come, if you don't care about yourself, think of Corey and the cadet. You can save them from a very horrible fate by telling me what steps Corey took to conceal the crown. Very well. You leave me no other choice. Chardu's signal. Perhaps Corey is already cracked. I knew it wouldn't take Voder long to get the information. Agent Orcon here, Chardu.
Orcon, Corey has escaped from Voder.
What? That's impossible.
I received a report from another Terra agent. Corey and the cadet blasted off from Terra on a Venus orbit.
What about Voder?
He has not reported. Very likely Corey has him locked up at headquarters. There's no telling how much information Corey got from him with their brainograph.
I still have Sterndorf. Corey won't dare do anything to endanger the professor.
Don't tell me what Corey will do. You keep telling me that the people of the solar system are weak, that they're powerless against our psych force. Well, Corey has captured 2 of our agents, Torzak and Voder. You are probably next.
No, he'll never take me.
He won't if you obey my instructions. He must never reach Venus.
How can I stop him?
The thought radiation unit on your spaceport. You know the standard space patrol frequency.
But Chardu projecting the psych force by spaceophone, it's a tremendous strain on my mind. It's painful, exhausting.
But you have exercised partial control over Corey before. The receptivity has already been established.
I know, but I can't be sure I can project a command over such a distance. Even when it's amplified by the thought radiation unit, it could be distorted, diffused.
Do not project a complex command. A simple, strong, non-action impulse is all you need.
Non-action impulse?
Yes. Soon Corey will approach the Venus City atmosphere shell. To enter the space lock, he and the cadets will have to perform certain specific actions. Your sight force will inhibit these actions.
Yes, it might work at that.
It has to work. From what you've told me before on the protective systems of these atmosphere shells, well, we will be rid of Corey for good. Hurry. Put on the thought protection unit and start transmitting.
We're on vector for the Venus City atmosphere shell, sir.
Fine, Hap. You bring it through the locks. Better cut our velocity.
Yes, sir. That's strange. The controls won't respond.
Try it again. There's your automatic warning from space control. Our approach is too fast. Accelerate, quick.
I can't, sir. The nose rockets won't fire.
Cut our tail rockets.
Well, nothing happens. We're still accelerating.
And change vector. Do it quick or we'll crash into the planet.
Yes, sir. The controls are frozen. I can't fire starboard or port rockets.
Cut on automatic landing control. The emergency circuits may take hold.
Yes, sir. Well, that doesn't work either. Smoking rockets, we're going to crash right into the heart of Venus City.
Listen to that automatic warning. The electronic protective system in Venus City is getting ready to launch a guided missile at us. We'll be blown up before we hit the shell.
Those beats are speeding up.
When they merge into one note, we'll have reached the critical point. Hap, try the forward rockets again. Press the control.
I did, sir.
You put your finger on it, but you didn't press it. Here, let me try it. Hap, there's nothing wrong with the controls. It's us.
But
the psych force. Something's controlling our actions.
It doesn't feel that way, sir.
We can do anything but decelerate the ship. Orcon must be using his psych force by remote control. The spacerphone, I'll cut it off.
Now we can't hear the warning.
Try the controls quickly. Fire port rockets.
It worked. It worked. We're changing vector.
Let's hope we swerve quick enough. Full repel array.
We're zooming in awfully close to the ground. Wow. That was close.
We'll make another approach to the city, huh? This time an automatic landing control.
Orcon must have been transmitting a psych force by spacerphone.
Yes. Otherwise, we'd have been blown to bits by now.
Well, I guess it's better to destroy a ship than to crash into a city. I could have sworn I was pressing those controls.
The psych force is a powerful weapon. We've got to round up every Dargita agent in the solar system. And we'll start with Orcon.
In his Venus City hideout, Orcon slumps in front of the spaceophone, completely exhausted. Still, he keeps a wary eye on his captive, Professor Sterndorf.
I would have to go through that again. It feels as though I've been physically beaten.
You have killed Commander Corey.
Yes, Professor. By now, the commander's ship has reached the electronic defense barrier over the atmosphere shell. And he's been blown to atoms. Let that be a lesson to anyone who opposes Dargita.
By destroying Corey, you ruined your only chance to get the crown.
If that is true, then you are no longer of any use to me. Yes. You are now in the way.
What are you going to do? Take your hands off me.
It won't do you any good to struggle, Professor. In a moment, it will all be over.
Let go of him, Orcon. Corey! I'll take care of him. Have you help the professor. Commander, he's going for his ray gun.
No, he isn't.
Keep him covered.
Yes, sir.
Are you all right, Professor?
Yes, Commander. But if you'd been a moment later...
You'll get Orcon to a brainograph before he builds up his mental resistance. He can probably tell us who some of the other Dargita agents are.
He won't get anything out of me, Cook. Chardu of Dargita will see that I am liberated.
Come on, Orcon. Let's go.
There is Chardu calling me now.
Forget it.
Very well. When I don't answer, he'll know I'm in trouble and send other agents to help.
He is right, Commander.
That gives me an idea. All right, Orcon. Talk to your boss. Go ahead. Say anything you like.
Do you mean that?
Answer it.
You've got some trick in mind. You think you'll learn something about the Dargita master plan?
All right, don't answer it, but make up your mind.
Very well. But you won't learn anything. Agent Orcon here, Chardu.
I'm surprised that you answered, Orcon.
Chardu, listen. Be careful what you say.
Silence, Archon. I have just heard of the failure of your plan to destroy Corey's spaceship.
That's what I wanted to explain.
Silence. Do not interrupt. To repeat it bluntly means only one thing. You are a traitor. You are working with my enemies.
That's not true. I'm loyal to you, Chardu.
Protect me from such loyalty. Henceforth, you will be regarded as a traitor of Dargida. I have ordered certain agents in the solar system to give you the treatment we reserve for traitors. Goodbye, Archon.
Chardu, listen to me, please. That's the way he repays me for my faithfulness. Commander, you've got to protect me. You don't have any idea how vicious Chardu can be.
Oh, don't we? You've given us some pretty good demonstrations.
Come on, Archon. We'll see that nothing happens to you for a long time to come.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment.
Say, Commander, take a look at these drawings for the new type spacesuits. See here? Energy restoration units built right in. Pretty cosmic, huh?
I've got a better energy restorer and builder right here. What's more, it tastes good.
You couldn't be talking about anything but good old Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa, I'll bet.
After you go to the head of the clan. Nestle's Cocoa is the hot drink all space patrollers need to make them peppy and keep them peppy. So delicious, too. Just packed with the rich, true chocolate flavor of Nestle's chocolate bar. And that's the best chocolate there is.
Nestle's is so easy to make, too. Just 1, 2, 3 spoonfuls in the cup, add hot water, and it's ready. Smoking rockets, let's not stand here talking about it. Let's have some.
Roger. Let's everybody have a big, delicious cup of Nestle's Ever-Ready Cocoa. And Nestle's is the one with the real chocolate flavor. That's Nestle's in the bright red can.
And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are on the planet Dargida, pursued by a band of Chardu's agents.
They're gaining on us, sir.
We're nearly at the top of the ridge. Then it'll be downhill to the ship.
It's lucky for us they don't have any weapons.
Chardu would probably get the mortars to take us alive.
From what we know of him, that isn't going to be any picnic.
If we can keep this lead, we'll be safe.
Wow, they have got weapons.
Here's the top of the ridge. Now a final spurt to the ship and...
Smoking rockets, Commander, look. Our ship is gone.
Be with us next week for the thrilling Space Patrol story, Planet of Discord. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Helen Moser. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, and Bela Kovacs. Dick Tufeld speaking. This week's Space Patrol was brought to you by Nestle's Ever-Ready, the instant cocoa. Nestle's Quick for great chocolate milk, and famous Nestle's chocolate bars. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood.
This is ABC Radio Network.